It is a 500-lap race here tonight, folks, on a high-banked half-mile oval in Bristol, Tennessee.
We weren't going green. They found a piece of debris. We're going to go another lap before they turn them loose.
The pit road speed tonight will be 30 miles an hour. There's the pit window, and it is a transitional or variable banking from 26 to 30 degrees. But the key one here, Andy, is that number 30 miles an hour.
Definitely that number. That 30 miles an hour is so slow, and it's so hard for these guys to run that speed and not get caught, and it's very tempting to push it.
Yeah, you feel like you're just creeping, and it's tempting to really cut it short in these corners, and you have to be really careful there because it's not that you're going any faster, it's just that shortens the area, and you can be caught for speed.
How about some of the sleepers that just might surprise some folks tonight?
My sleeper is Eric Almirola. He had a great race in the spring. He finished 8th. He's been sitting on the sidelines watching these guys, and I know he's itching to get back going again, and I'm sure he's going to have a good race tonight.
Well, my sleeper's didn't have a very good Friday. He crashed qualifying, and then he had a little accident in the nationwide race last night. But I'm going with David Reagan. I think that he's really pumped up, wants to have a good race tonight to get himself in that chase.
Folks, glad to have you with us. Ford, Toyota, and Chevrolet, the front 3 cars, 500 laps at Bristol Motor Speedway. As they will come down and they have checked debris on the racetrack, they will give them the one to go this time by. What's it like in that seat, knowing that you're sitting inside a tidal wave of humanity about to go at it?
This is an incredible feeling being a driver here, seeing all of these fans here that have come out to watch this race. You know how exciting it is. You've watched it before yourself, before you got the opportunity to drive here, and now you're a part of this. It's just an incredibly exhilarating feeling.
Got to survive Bristol. Got to be able to get there at the end. Remember, so many drivers know that they have got to get through this night, particularly those guys in the bubble with just 3 races to go before the chase begins. Just 3 events in the regular season for NASCAR before the championship chase begins. And it's got to go through Bristol. You got to somehow survive the high banks.
It's going to be interesting as we get ready to come to the green. We saw 3 different lanes being used here tonight, and I think it's going to be at least that, Andy.
Yeah, we'll see these guys really jockey for position to get 3 wide pretty quick.
Pace car pulls away, getting set for full contact stock car racing NASCAR style here in Bristol, Tennessee. Will lead him down, and Jeff Gordon not wasting any time to get that car down to the inside there and take second spot away from David Rudiman.
We saw Junior get 3 wide coming off turn 2.
Very good cars back in the pack. There goes Jimmy Johnson, and right behind him was Dale Earnhardt Jr. There's Johnson in the 48 and Junior right behind him.
I think these guys know that high groove is there for the taking tonight, and they're going to utilize that here to make some passes on this start of this race.
Earnhardt Jr. coming off back-to-back disappointments, 22nd at Watkins Glen. You saw the disappointment a week ago at Michigan, 23rd place finish there. Kevin Harvick in the 21 car looking beneath Bill Elliott.
Bill Elliott had a great qualifying effort for the Wood brothers here. But you see Harvick down on the bottom. That used to be the place that you had to be on this racetrack, but it's not necessarily so now. These guys were telling me that's really a slick part. It makes it difficult for them to get a really good bite with all the horsepower that they have.
We're here, they're black flagging the 88 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Well, it had to have something to do with the start of the race, passing before he got to the start-finish line or something.
You must get to the start-finish line before you pass.
4100 at the line up here.
Okay, here he comes.
5.
Serving this penalty, he can pull in on the backstretch, in his pit, down his pit road, and pull right back out on the track. He does not have to run the full length of both pit roads here.
But you're going to see the leaders go by right here, right now, so he's going to be at the minimum of a lap down.
There's 1 lap. He's trying to get back on the racetrack. Leader at the start-finish line. He was passing before the start-finish line. That is the rule. Let's show you the start here. Watch the 88 car. You can't pass high or low on the original start of the race until you cross the start-finish line.
Yeah, Now this definitely gets the rules on the initial start.
Yeah.
You can do this on a restart. And I'm sure Junior felt like this was a legal move, but it's not on the initial start of the race.
No, the initial start of the race. And I'm sure that he understands that now and knows it. You get so jacked up, ready to go, and you see that opportunity is there. Again, legal on a restart from this point forward, we can do that, but not on the start of the race. We see a battle for third spot between David Rubin and Reagan Smith here, who had a great qualifying effort too, and looks like he has a car to go racing with.
We mentioned it was Rudiman's career best start. It was also Reagan Smith's career best start tonight. These two drivers trying to make a name for themselves here by running in the top 5 early on and doing a good job.
And this is so much fun to watch these guys being able to pass and run side by side. Just a lot of really good racing going on.
Here's some more good racing. The 84 car, that is A.J. Allmendinger. The 18 of Kyle Busch. They're trying to somehow get around above or below the 21 of Elliot.
Looked like they're trying to go through him right there. Kyle Busch was.
We see Martin Truax and Elliot Sadler in this battle also. Martin Truax was extremely fast. He was second quick in the final practice yesterday. Talked with Elliot Sadler. He said he liked his car. Wasn't as good as his nationwide car last night, but he expected to be up on top of the track before long in this. Dave?
I don't expect A.J. Allmendinger to slow down and give up positions. With his new crew chief, Jimmy Elledge, his average finish has been 14th just a few races. Before that and through the year, 30th. So he's trying to hang on and show just how much improvement they've made.
He's getting frustrated down the bottom under Bill Elliott. He's got a little better car, but he can't quite get him clear, and that's just got to be frustrating.
Man, you really want to go right there, and the more you try to hit the gas soon, the more that you upset your race car, and that's going to be the challenge these guys are going to have all night long.
Kyle Busch showing some unusual patience here behind these two, trying to decide, I guess, which way he wants to go.
There's really nowhere for him to go right now. He doesn't want to make it 3 wide. He's a smart enough race driver. Obviously, he's won 8 races and leading the championship right now, but he knows he can be patient. This is 500 laps.
It's caused a little bit of a log jam, though. A lot of guys coming up, catching this group. Somebody's going to lose patience.
Yeah, you've only got 482 more laps to go.
But because of this, they've really lost touch with the 5th place car of Kevin Harvick, who's about 3/4 of a straightaway ahead of these guys. But you know, Bill Elliott's not going to give up and just pull over.
Folks, a ticker at the top of your screen. The green names are those that are currently in the top 12 in the chase. The ones in yellow are within reach of virtue of point standing. They could get there if they had good finishes. Carl Edwards. Concrete Carl, 8 times he has won on a concrete track in NASCAR, including twice a year ago in Sprint Cup. Lap 26 of the Pennzoil Platinum, and reigning Cup champion Jimmie Johnson having issues here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Slowing down, contact on the right side. They're going to come in and bend some of those fenders away.
Yeah, this is under green. These guys are trying to get some of this damage fixed so they can get him back out there. That little contact with Starling Marlin off of turn 2. These guys are just racing hard for position. Jimmy gets loose, needs a little extra racetrack.
Yeah, that's exactly where he got loose in the truck race the other night and having a little problems there, but it created a lot of problems for him now. And from all of that, he's really holding things up. People are having to go inside, outside of him. You see that right rear tire down?
That right rear tire's flat. It's amazing he didn't crash the car getting down the pit road.
Yeah, Mike Skinner able to get by. Montoya gets by. Jamie?
Well, you see them going to work on that 48. I talked to Chad Canals, the crew chief for Jimmie Johnson. He told me earlier, we just want to get through this race tonight and salvage some points. He said, my driver can't drive here, and I can't set a car up here. Once we're out of here, we can win anywhere, guys. And they were mired back in the back, and you see the result.
Well, Jimmie Johnson came here in the middle of the week to run the truck race, just hoping to get some more laps and experience and maybe win one here. He thought he might have had a shot there, lost it in that race, and now having trouble here in the first 27 laps at Bristol. Back up front, Carl Edwards has led all 31 laps thus far. It is Edwards the leader. Jeff Gordon, after the disappointment in Michigan a week ago, in second spot, surprising Regan Smith. Dale Earnhardt Incorporated driver back in third. David Rudiman is fourth, and Kevin Harvick is now fifth. Here's our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge. Which of these bubble drivers is most likely to miss the chase? Would it be A, Jeff Gordon, B, Casey Kane, C, Denny Hamlin, or D, Clint Boyer? To play, text CREW to 191 from your AT&T wireless phone. Standard text message rates will apply. Well, that's a hard choice there.
Yeah. That's going to be a tough one.
Jimmy Johnson pulling back out, and now we'll pull back down pit road. Let's check in the 99 pits with Dave.
And during the break, you guys were discussing a near wreck in front of leader Carl Edwards. 2 other spotters pointed it out, including Edwards. They told him maximum patience right now. These guys are going to wreck in front of you. He did back off quite a bit, but what that allowed him to do was allow Jeff Gordon to get up to his back bumper just a couple laps ago, Mike.
Yeah, Dave, and Doc was talking about the disappointment for Jeff Gordon a week ago in Michigan, and one of the things that Jeff was most critical about was the pit stops. Well, this week was a difficult week for that team. They really focused hard on consistency during pit practice. In fact, just before the race started, pit crew captain, if you will, Mike Tiny Houston, kind of held court with his team and told them, hey, let's put last week out of our mind and really focus on tonight. Pit stops will be critical for the 24.
Andy, you talked to Steve Letarte a bunch today. How did he really address what happened with them last week at Michigan?
Well, they had a great race car at Michigan, and it's kind of funny. He said there was 8 championships between the 3 guys involved, and you'd think that a racetrack like Michigan, you'd have enough room for the guys with that kind of credibility to avoid each other, but they all came together, and you know, they feel like they're on the right track. They're coming to the racetrack with better race cars. They've got a good car tonight. As we can see here, he's running down Carl Edwards. Although Carl is in some heavy traffic. Seems to have broken away just a little bit here.
Jeff Gordon there, his teammate Jimmy Johnson back onto pit road again for more repairs. Jamie.
Well, Doc, he radioed in that his splitter is hitting the racetrack, so they're going to work on that right front fender. You see him pulling it out there because he had a fender rub, and the splitter, you see they cut it off there on the front right part. So, Andy, maybe you could talk about what can they possibly do to keep this splitter off the racetrack with banking like this.
Yeah, they're doing all they can do, Jamie. They just cut that part away, and if it still hits, they'll just have to keep coming back in and cutting away the parts that are hitting. Right now, he's 13 laps down. This is really a big blow to this team right here, is trying to get a good finish here at Bristol.
Well, if you're Chad Canals, what are you thinking right now? I mean, you got this many laps left, and you're already 13 laps back. Now, that's got to be frustrating for those guys. Good battle here, 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Yeah, we're seeing 2 grooves being utilized here. You've got the 12 car down on the bottom. Looks like Greg Biffle and Casey Kane are choosing the high side. And then you got Jeff Burton down on the bottom. So Ryan Newman is trying to make a pass on Greg Biffle. He hasn't been able to complete it yet. Looks like every time he gets just a little bit of room, Greg makes that run back on the outside.
Jeff Burton won here in the spring. He led 2 laps, the most important 2, the last 2 of the race on the green-white checkered. Looking at the inside of the 9 car for position. That will be for 13th spot. Traffic in front of Carl Edwards.
Yeah, every time he catches some traffic, Jeff Gordon gets back to his bumper here. And you know, these guys just aren't going to pull over. Juan Pablo, he's trying to stay in front here. He doesn't want to go a lap down, and it makes it very, very difficult. Carl has been running the bottom of the racetrack, but when you're trying to pass somebody, it just makes this place that much harder. You see Jeff going to the outside of him now, going to try to take the lead, but I don't know where he's going to go because the 42 car is going to be right in front of him.
I think he's just having fun right here. He knows he can't go anywhere. He's just going to play around here and see what the outside groove's like here.
This is great racing and what this is all about. And you can see, even though we have 2 and 3 grooves here, just how much it could hold up. You can see the brake rotors there on Jeff Gordon's car glowing red already, Andy.
I saw that, and I also saw that on the 99 car earlier. Carl Edwards had a tire go down last night in the Nationwide Series race because of excessive brake heat. And it's just one thing I'm really kind of concerned about because these cars have a lot more power than those cars last night.
Yeah, the drivers were telling me they're having to use a lot of brake here, but I think that these crew chiefs knew that, and they probably took precaution with that, just like they would at a place like Martinsville or somewhere.
We are being told that Jeff Gordon did indeed lead the last lap. He will be scored as a leader, so now he's got those 5 extra bonus points. And considering how far he fell 3 spots last week, he needs every point he can get.
He said he was just going to go for it now since they were in that spot. And he's racing hard here early.
It's amazing how these 2 drivers, the first and second, how not being able to pass the 42 has allowed these other drivers. You see Reagan Smith in 3rd, Kyle Busch there trying to take that spot away. They've caught these guys. They were about a straightaway behind a while ago, and now right here they are battling with them for the lead.
That's 3rd and 4th. The 18 Kyle Busch is 3rd, Reagan Smith 4th. And now Kyle Busch is right to the inside, a half a car length back of Jeff Gordon.
This is where the patience kind of run thin. These guys are trying to put a lap on the 42 car, Juan Pablo Montoya, and they're going to get impatient with him. And you put yourself in a bad spot when you hold these leaders up.
Yeah, you do. And the thing that makes Carl Edwards' car so good is it turns in the center, but that's the one thing that you fight then is the exit of the corner.
What did Rusty say in Countdown? The worst thing you can do here if you're a slow car is get in front of a fast car and stay there.
Well, you saw Carl give him a little tap right there, so he's not very happy about the situation. He knows the position that has put him in. He had a nice little lead until he came up on this.
Hey, one thing, guys, I'm concerned about for Carl Edwards, he's driving so hard right now, Doc. And Andy and Dale, he's just wearing his tires out, that 99 cars. He's getting loose. He's spinning them off the corners. And, boy, you don't want that this early.
How patient are you? How long do you wait?
There's your answer right there. He just moved.
I guess Kyle Busch said, I'm not going to wait at all.
Carl just moved Montoya out of the way and slowed them both up enough that Kyle Busch got ahead.
That's a great move by Kyle Busch. He took advantage of the situation there. He kind of saw what was happening. He's still not, Carl Edwards is still not finished, putting a bumper to Montoya.
That wasn't so hard, was it?
Speak for yourself.
Yeah.
Carl Edwards had plenty of problems.
And that's the one thing that I saw with Kyle Busch here. He seems to be able to make passes down there. You know, obviously, with Carl Edwards moving Montoya up, it gave him a little better angle to get in there and make that pass. But you can see the 99 still having a lot of difficulty getting around the 42.
I'm with Rusty. I think that Carl had to use a lot of race car underneath this 42, and that's hurting him a lot right now.
Short tracks lead to short tempers, and thus far they have been able to hold their composure with the exception of a little bump and a tap. How much longer will that last? Because Jeff Gordon and Carl Edwards can't go anywhere. Now Gordon goes by. Edwards still following the 42 car.
I think Carl's just had to back off here for a second, doing exactly what Rusty was talking about, heating up his tires too much. He's going to have to give those tires just a break if it's a lap or so, and then try to, hopefully maybe Jeff Gordon will give him a shot and open up a hole for him to go on by.
Sun has gone down, temperatures are cooling, but tempers are on their way up. It's Bristol. We are at lap 68 of the Sharpie 500. Kyle Busch has now led the last 14 laps after making his way around Carl Edwards and Jeff Gordon. Edwards led 53 laps. Jeff Gordon was credited with leading a single lap. They are the only three leaders thus far tonight. The 42 car of Juan Pablo Montoya is being shown in 37th position, but he is running as hard as anybody on the racetrack.
The top three got by him okay. Not okay, they got by him. These other guys are really having a tough time.
Here's what Kyle Busch had to say a moment ago about the 42 car.
Man, he did that to us at Darlington. You know, I mean, what are you going to do? Forgot all about that, you're right. Tell you what, when he's running 40th, he's the fastest 40th place guy here. He's a racer. Yeah, you're right about that. Oh, show.
Now, what are you supposed to do? It reminds me a little bit of the old days of Dave Marcus. I mean, Dave may not have had the car that day that some of the other guys had, but he was not going to give you anything. He was going to drive as hard as he could drive to maintain his position.
Yeah, he was a hard one, man, I'll tell you. This Montoya's proven to be pretty tough. I can't believe these guys are actually being as patient as they've been with him.
You know, the problem they're having with him is his car doesn't look like it's turning that good in the center, but it really gets off the corner, and so that's not allowing these guys to get a run down to the end of the straightaway on him and make the pass. And so it makes it difficult. But I don't know. You know, he can't just stop. So you know, it's hard to put a blame on him whenever they have a whole lane that they can race and try to pass him.
Yeah, he's given them the whole bottom side of the racetrack. It's just they can't seem to go down there. Shannon?
Yeah, as far as the 44, David Rudiman is concerned, I spoke with his team this morning, and they told me, you know, despite that second-place qualifying effort, they really were not happy with his car in practice. They said they had a really hard time getting back on the gas, but he is holding strong in that top 5 right now, guys. Just a little bit loose in the center for David Rudiman.
You can see David Rudiman's running that higher side and had been making up quite a bit of time. Regan Smith's now going to try to go to the top, and you see Ryan Newman has come into the picture. His car looks really fast tonight also.
Can't say enough about Regan Smith in that 0-1. We mentioned his best qualifying effort. His best finish in his career was 14th at Martinsville. he came in as a short track ace, and maybe the last few weeks really starting to show his oats a little bit here in that DEI car.
He's showing a lot of patience right here. I wondered whenever he caught the 42 here how much patience he was going to show, but he's got a really good car, but he's doing a really good job. It's not what he wants right now. I know he'd like to get in front and try to run those leaders down. Jamie?
Well, he's doing a great job of being patient, DJ. He said the car is just driving great. He's very happy, pretty quiet on the radio, but he qualified fourth. That ties his best performance yet. His best finish this year, 14th, guys, so he can definitely improve that if he stays running as patient and as well as he has so far.
Very atypical of Bristol. We have been, and I perish to say that we have been caution-free now for 79 laps, and that is unusual. But guys, there's a driver coming, and it's the one that Dale Jarrett talked about, Kevin Harvick in the 29, and he is on his way. He is on a mission.
Yeah, this 29 car has been coming. These guys got held up quite a bit by Montoya, but now Montoya seems to pull away from Ruderman and actually Ryan Newman. You see now Ryan catching these guys again, but Harvick's catching these guys pretty good.
Yeah, and Harvick had moved up for a little while, but when those guys got to racing really hard, you saw him back off. I think that tells me he's got a really good car, and he wasn't going to press the issue right now. He's in a good spot.
Our Wrangler telemetry just shows you that Kevin Harvick just hammers that throttle and then jumps in the brakes to get it wound down. Dave.
Hey guys, he does have a very good race car. Crew Chief Todd Berrier believed that when I talked to him this afternoon. The only thing they've told him so far is to keep your eyes on your brakes. In other words, keep your foot off your brakes when you don't have to use them. A little bit of a rotor glow that they warned him about. Otherwise, just a little bit loose in at the beginning of these runs. They'll adjust for that on their first stop.
That's good information, Dave. That's just what you were saying, Dale. That's what he was doing there. He backed off of those guys when he saw they were running side by side. It was an opportunity for him to cool his brakes, cool his tires.
Leader in traffic, Michael Waltrip being shown in 33rd position. In front of him, Bobby Labonte, the last car on the lead lap, in 32nd. 83 laps complete at Bristol.
Kyle Busch is the race leader, but out front since lap number 55 now. While he is pacing the field, one of his Joe Gibbs Racing teammates has kind of caught our eye moving through the field.
Yeah, Tony Stewart's looking really good. And one thing I've noticed, guys, he's running the bottom, the middle, and the top. And I never thought I would see that at Bristol, Tennessee. He's looking really strong out there. I mean, just really catching them. And Brad, old racetrack's getting pretty racy.
It is getting racy. You can see the grooves starting to work in. I tell you, I've seen something like I don't think I've ever seen. I'm looking at a 43-car field, and at one time, at different times, everyone in the field is running sub 1750. So, and Bill Elliott, how about Bill up on the wheel for the Wood brothers, doing a great job in that 8th position right now.
And we've been talking about the race to the chase and some of the bubble boys right in the middle of that mess. Denny Hamlin in the 11, Casey Kane in the 9, Clint Boyer in the 07. All those guys got to race hard at Bristol and protect the points.
Look at that again, guys. Three into the wall.
Martin Truax Jr. and A.J. Allmendinger in the 1 and the 84, and caution is out for the first time in this race, just shy of the 100-lap mark. You knew sooner or later somebody was going to slip.
I'm telling you, the field is not separated. Everyone's running the same speeds. Even Jimmy Johnson, who's 13 laps down, was running 1730s, and your leaders are running 1730. It's incredible. You can't get away from one another.
Going to see some pit stops here, Doc.
Indeed we should, and tough break for A.J. Allmendinger and Martin Truex, who were both trying to run in and stay in the top 15. Right side of your screen, watch the 1 car.
Yeah, he has the right front tire go down right there in the middle of the corner. We saw a lot of brake heat in these cars. I was really worried about that because we saw it last night. After these cars ran about that many laps, they could charcoal that bead and that tire go flat.
Yeah, nobody ran this many laps in practice to have any idea, but we talked about that, Andy, earlier, if that was going to be a problem, and we've already seen it.
The caution is out. Caution.
As you watch this contact, that is a big blow to the 84. Remember, they were just outside the top 35, only 13 points out of 35th in terms of owner points, and that is critical to be able to be guaranteed a starting spot here for the races coming up without having to qualify on time and speed.
Yeah, he was sitting there in the top 20. He had a good run going.
Talked about the unique pit road, and they got to come in under caution off of turn 2. And here come the leaders down, creeping along at 30 miles per hour. Jamie.
Remember what we said about pitting in the first pit stop? That is Reagan Smith. They reminded him the rest of the field will be coming down when they exit. 4 tires, no changes. It should be a fast pit stop for Reagan Smith. Shannon?
Well, Jamie, Jeff Burton went to victory lane in the spring here at Bristol. Right now he's tight through the middle. He said the fan underneath his seat is vibrating. They're probably going to turn that fan off. 4 tires for Jeff Burton. Mike?
Jeff Gordon saying he's got a little bit of a push. They're going to address that with air pressure and also a track bar adjustment. A 4-tire change in Sunoco race fuel for Jeff Gordon. They're completing their stop as they go to work now on the left side, Dave.
Leader Kyle Busch said I'm just a little bit tight rolling the center of the corner. They'll make an air pressure adjustment, air out of that right front tire, and he leaves pit road. A good stop for the 18.
13.8 seconds for Kyle Busch. He's down and away. Both Busch and Jeff Gordon complaining of tight race cars. Cars pushing up across the racetrack. Let's listen in to our over-the-wall guy, Mitch Lash, the jackman for David Rudiman's car number 44.
Get to the right side. Peg it, full pump. Right rear off. Pass it. Drop it. Go around. Peg it. Pump it. That's a day in the office.
Mitch, a Navy veteran and former radio talk show host. He's the jackman for David Rudiman. Just another typical day at the office. Working caution number 1 at Bristol Motor Speedway. The incident involving contact with the 84 of A.J. Allmendinger, who is behind the wall, and Martin Truax, the 1 car. Leaders have been on and off pit road for pit stops, and a safety truck trying to hurriedly back into his stall there. He will get there, and the pace car will pull away. So we will get back to green flag racing. Kyle Busch will lead him down. Carl Edwards, who was the pole sitter, a half a car length away.
We're going to have some guys on the inside there fighting really hard to beat that car still. The first one a lap down. Dale Jr. is about 7th car in line that would be eligible for that, so he's got a lot of work to do to get himself in that spot.
He's got a good car, but it's going to be hard to pass a lot of these guys when you have all the lead lap cars fighting for position also.
Yeah, there are 29 cars on the lead lap. Bobby Labonte, the first car lap down. He's Skinner, Waltrip, Robbie Gordon, Montoya, Hornish, and Earnhardt Jr. among the cars 1 lap down. What about the 19 car of Elliot Sadler, who's having a very good run here in the first 75 laps? We talked about how tight the conditions were on pit road. Take a look.
If he gets in that pit stall and he slams on the brakes and slides the front wheels and can't steer it, slides right up next to the wall, they can get the right sides on the car, but they can't get around to the left. So Elliot has to back up and then get straight in the box so these guys can jack up the left side. Cost him a ton of time right there.
Yeah, he's back in 29th, the last car on the lead lap right at this point in time. So he had a good run going, but those are the kind of mistakes that you just can't make to have a good night here. It's not been devastating to him yet. He has a lot of time that he can still make up.
Elliot Sadler, one of the 11 former winners in tonight's race. Won in the spring of 2001 here at Bristol. If you just joined our coverage, Carl Edwards was the leader, was the pole sitter, has led twice for 53 laps. Kyle Busch has led 55 laps. Jeff Gordon credited with leading a single lap. There is Dale Earnhardt Jr. Why is he a lap down? Well, when they waved the green flag, he passed cars before the start-finish line and was black flagged, had to come on pit road for a pass-through.
I think Clint wisely let him go right there because that could have been devastating for this 07. That's the team that's fighting to stay in there, try to get in the top 12 in points.
Yeah, when you get back to him.
Sounds like he feels like he got a little help there to get up out of the groove.
No, he definitely got help. Junior's on a mission. He's trying to get this lap back. Like you said,
the left front tire going down. Is that they going to start the air that low? That looked awful low.
Well, it doesn't look like it's flat yet. It's still running good.
Well, he is sailing now, gets up and behind, right in behind the 09 car of Sterling Marlin.
This is just not racing like we've been accustomed over the years of seeing these guys be able to race 2 and 3 wide around this racetrack.
Wow, look how high this 88 car is running.
Yeah, I just
Right
wonder if
next
that left front's going flat.
Here's the replay. We'll show you the little tap a moment ago, the 07, 88. Oh.
Yeah, he just had a big run coming off the corner, and Clint didn't know he was up there. Then he gets the tap. That might be the one that Clint's not happy about.
Yeah, I just wonder because that first bit was the left front whenever he got into the right rear of the 07.
Elliot Sadler on pit road, and guys, we're hearing loose seat belt.
Wow, you don't hear that very often. But you can't run out here without seat belts. Not one lap.
Talk about how you bounce around in a seat. Got to have those belts tight. Kyle Busch is the leader. There is Carl Edwards, about a second and a tenth back in second spot. Jeff Gordon trying to turn his season around. There's Gordon, who qualified third and is running third right now. There's the 12 of Ryan Newman. Ryan Newman starting back in 11th position all the way up to 4th. And here is Kevin Harvick in the 5th place. Harvick set out the NASCAR Nationwide Series race last night. Had Cale Gale set that car on the pole because his focus was winning here tonight.
We have just crossed the 1/4 point of tonight's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race at Bristol. Our coverage presented by Pennzoil Platinum. 160,000 here in Thunder Valley looking on as Kyle Busch leads tonight's race. Our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge question we asked a little while ago. Which of the bubble drivers is most likely to miss the chase? Jeff Gordon, Casey Kane, Denny Hamlin, or Clint Boyer? You said Denny Hamlin.
Huh. It'll be like that attitude last week. He kind of got fed up last week and said that, and fans probably said, you know what, his head's not in it. I think it's in it, though.
I'm thinking about Clint Boyer, who's been struggling. But Clint looks pretty strong tonight. He's taking that hot rod, sticking his nose up and under a few people. But I tell you what, Tony Stewart continues to move forward. He is on a roll.
Looking at Clint Boyer right now as he stands on the racetrack, 34 points outside of a place in the chase. Boyer is in 11th spot. Only one caution in the race. One of the cars involved is behind the wall, Mike.
And that's Martin Truax. And this track is so tough on man and machine. Truax had a right front tire go down because of the brake temperature. Melted the inner bead. You can see the right side damage. A lot of work on the one, but they're going to be behind the wall for quite some time.
As to that, he had an outstanding car in yesterday's final practice. And Mr. Brewer, over at our Chevy Cutaway car, we said teams had to be prepared for anything tonight, huh?
Yeah, Alan, we were prepared. Believe me, we've got brake blowers for the beads right here. We've actually got fans coming in to cool the brakes because the heat transfer is going to come from this rotor up to the wheel, and this is the bead. You have to protect it because if you don't protect it, at the end of the day, you're going to come out here, and this is going to be the end result.
And that's not pretty.
That's not pretty. Let me tell you the reason all this problem's happening, guys. These new cars, they just don't handle as well. So when you get to the corner, you got to use more brake to slow them down, and that creates brake heat. And when you get a lot of brake heat, you lose those tires unless you can really cool them down with a lot of cooling, which Tim was showing us.
So Kyle Busch, after the restart, has moved away from Carl Edwards. Got about a 1-second lead, and already, Doc, he's back in heavy traffic.
He indeed is, and there's the 99 car of Edwards, who is chasing him. What about David Reagan? We documented he was the only car that had to go to the rear of the pack to begin tonight because he had lost his primary car with a wreck in qualifying. David Reagan has gained 19 positions, and as you heard Brad mention, how about Tony Stewart? By the way, Tony Stewart in the spring here led 267 laps. Tony Stewart has led the most laps at Bristol in 3 of the last 5 races, but hasn't won here since August of 2001. So he can get it done. He's got to be able to get that car to finish. Here he is trying to move around the 31 car. That would be for 7th spot.
And it's like Rusty said, he's doing it on all over the racetrack. He's running high right here. He's been real low. His car's handling great anywhere he puts it.
Amazing how much we're seeing these good race cars being held up by cars that are lapped down, but they're running just fast enough to keep these guys behind them. Dave?
And a driver would never complain about a car that handles that well and passes that many cars, would he, guys? His report wasn't that glowing on the 20 car, on top of the track, loose into the turn, tight in the middle, but they made adjustments for that, and it's still fast.
That just sounds like the new car, Dave. Sounds like it's handling perfect. This new car has been really tough for these guys to drive, and it's really not, nobody ever gets this car to drive perfect. They just have to do the best they can with what they have.
Entering tonight, Kyle Busch had led 2,906 laps in a total of 57 NASCAR races. Kyle Busch currently leading the Sharpie 500. He has now led 93 laps in a row. Dale Earnhardt Jr., 1 lap down, being shown in 33rd position by virtue of jumping the start at the beginning of the race and having to come down pit road. Let's listen in.
The right rear is just chatters outside the car into the center, and right here is just really hard to get power down. Right into the center right here, chatter the right rear out. It's real hard to get power down.
Wow, that car's a handful right there. I don't know how he gets all that out while he's trying to steer that thing.
Is he spinning the tires? Is that what you hear, the blinding, the high-pitched revs?
Yeah, you can hear the engine rev up on the straightaway. I mean, he's really having a hard time getting the power to the ground.
He is back in 33rd position again, showing 1 lap down. Well, let's get you up to speed on the top 15 cars in the field, beginning with our leader, Kyle Busch. Here's Dave Burns.
No problems right now for leader Kyle. One of the reasons why they could expect so much out of this car, Steve Annington, the crew chief, told me, they got some long runs. In the 96 laps they ran in final practice, 2 of them were of 30 and 35 laps. That's how you know what to expect out of your race car. Trying to chase him down, Carl Edwards in that 99 car. He told crew chief Bob Osborne, you know, I'm tight when I run the middle groove on this track, but that's where the speed is. That's where we need to work on this car. It's still a little bit tight in that middle groove. Mike?
You know, Dave, talking with Jeff Gordon's crew chief Steve Letarte this morning, asking him how the car was, he said, you know, it's like Groundhog Day. It's the same thing every week. They were struggling tight middle and loose off, but it appears they've gotten the car pretty good. Jeff just came over the radio not too long ago saying the car's really turning well right now. I'm pretty happy with it. Meanwhile, Ryan Newman has to be pretty happy himself. Yesterday during practice, in both practice sessions, was running in the 20s. The car was not spectacular. They made minimal adjustments to the race car, but it is definitely one of the fastest on the racetrack right now. Last time down pit road, his instructions to Roy McCauley, leave it, don't change a thing, Dave.
Kevin Harvick, running 5th, had a race car that was loose, so they took a spring rubber out of the right rear spring, made an air pressure adjustment, just radioed in. Now it's pushing, and it's loose. Tough way to handle it for tonight for Kevin Harvick, but still fast. High line behind him. The 9 car of Casey Kane being passed by Tony Stewart right now. Stewart saying that his car is still tight in the center and loose off. The 9 car of Casey Kane saying it's better on this run. Maybe he can get that position back from Stewart.
Well, Jeff Burton currently running 8th, has gained 10 positions since the start of this race. The team told me that they were pretty tight practice this weekend, but every time they would try to free it up, they would just lose overall grip. That is exactly what's happened here tonight. Right now, Jeff Burton says he has no grip in that race car. Mike.
Denny Hamlin coming into this race after a very difficult week back in the shop. Very critical of his teams, very critical of his chances of making the chase. But he knew this was a race where they could make hay. Back in the spring, they led 98 laps. Unfortunately, they had a fuel pickup problem at the end. He came into this race with that on his mind. Right now, his car, very good. He's happy, but still could use a little bit more forward bite, Jamie.
And the man behind Denny Hamlin wants his spot in the points at 12th. That's Clint Boyer sitting 13th right now. They said that the key to the race here, long runs. That's what they got to start with. He started 22nd. He worked his way up to 10th. They are not good on short runs. So right now, this is great for Clint Boyer. They're telling him he's one of the fastest cars on the track and take care of his tires. Shannon?
Yeah, Jamie, David Rudiman, what a great ride. What a great ride for this driver. Started this race 2nd. Right now, he is loose. He says the rear tires are spinning off the turns. David Rudiman looking for a solid run here tonight. Jamie.
And Reagan Smith still holds on to a good effort. He started 4th tonight, currently sits in the top 12. On that last stop, they were a little slow on those rear tires, so he went from 4th all the way back to 12th. He's the fastest Dale Earnhardt Incorporated car on the racetrack. Mike?
Eric Almirola certainly holding his own in the 8 car, working the bottom groove now as he heads down the front straightaway. He, like many others, saying the car's a little bit tight and could certainly use a little bit more forward bite. Dave?
The 21 car of Bill Elliott after a great qualifying run. A couple of quick cars got by him on the restart here. That's how he lost the positions. His lap time's still very good. Right behind him, Greg Biffle in that 16 car really hasn't made the forward progress they were looking for. His car very loose on the first run. They made a wedge and an air pressure adjustment for Biffle on that first stop. Doc?
Thanks, guys. 164 of 500 laps complete. And the leader now continuing, I guess we'll say that all night long, the leader working in the heavy traffic there, trying to get beneath the 41 car of Reed Sorensen. Kyle Busch has led once and continues to lead now 110 laps up front. College football coming your way. Gillette presents kickoff week on ABC. Next Saturday night, you'll see either Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide take on the Clemson Tigers or Michigan State Spartans against the California Bears. The Chick-fil-A college kickoff game as part of College Kickoff Week presented by Gillette on ABC Saturday, August 30th at 8 Eastern Time. Got some full contact going on here, but thus far, a lot of patience being shown by some of the drivers here. And that is the 17 car. That is a very good race car, Matt Kenseth. It also shows you how good that 18 car is.
He's running 21st, trying to stay on the lead lap. Rusty hit us in brakes, said, look at that monitor. Everybody's running basically the same speed from 1st to 35th, and that's why it's just so hard for these guys.
DJ, why is it so many guys are having trouble with traffic with the exception of Kyle Busch? He seems to just breeze by people.
Well, he's had his problems a few times, but his car is just better. And what we've seen all year, he's just better than everybody else. He drives these cars better than other people. It's been really impressive how patient he's been when he's got in these situations. He hasn't let that get to him. He waits till the opportunity is there, and then he makes the pass. Very fast race car and a very good race driver. That's a great combination here. You can see Matt Kenseth right in front of him. He's having some struggles there. But these guys, again, they're running the same speed, Andy, so it makes it more difficult.
Got to be frustrating for these guys. They make for great racing for us. Look at these speeds at the line. Everybody 110 miles an hour, basically. 111 for Clint Boyer, fastest car on the racetrack.
Yeah, in terms of lap times, Kyle Busch a moment ago came by at a 17:33, and Bobby Labonte running in 30th position ran a 17.35 second lap, so 200ths of a second difference. Dave.
And one reason why they're so good, testing. Steve Addington told me one thing you don't have to ask this kid to do is get in a race car. He'll do it. We've tested twice in the last 2 weeks, and we found a lot of stuff, and Kyle's run a lot of laps. Sometimes I'll say, bring it in, you're not running that good. He says, no, let me stay out here a few more laps. Let me see what I can find. And that's information that they can use and will use in the chase.
Yeah, that's very impressive that he would go do this, and I know he's a young driver and loves to drive race cars, but there's nothing more valuable than to have the actual driver of your race cars there at these tests, Andy, to give that feedback and have that information to talk with.
That's so true. I know I've done a lot of tests without the main driver, and it's just so much you can learn. When you've got your #1 driver there and you're doing these tests, and you know, it's really a combination. It's not really just the car and the driver. It's the driver and the car combined. And you know, if you don't have the guy behind the wheel doing the testing, you're not going to get that right combination.
And the seat time. We mentioned this is his 57th race this year. Or we should say 58th. He's run between the NASCAR Sprint Cup, the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and the NASCAR Truck Series. And oh, by the way, 17 wins.
Yeah, he's just incredible. He's doing a great job. He finally got by Matt Kenseth there. As we drop back here, there's two guys that are on the move, and that's the 20 and the 31. Two guys that have won here, and these, with Kyle up there having to race side by side trying to get by these lap cars, these guys are able to make up some ground. They're back there less than 4 seconds from the lead, and so it's really helping them. They have fast race cars and are both doing a really, really good job. Be interesting to see how they can go through this traffic now, though. The leader's the one that always has the most difficult.
Check out Denny Hamlin here in this 11 car. What you see here, I believe, are these cars that have good long run setups. The longer these cars run, the better they run, and here they start coming to the front. We had about a 90-lap run, 95-lap run early. These guys started coming to the front. Now they're doing it again.
12 and 99. They are battling for the second position. Edwards trying to get beneath the 38 of David Gillen. There's Sam Hornish above him. And boy, there's lots of traffic, somewhat of a danger zone, Rusty.
Well, Doc, you're exactly right. But I tell you one thing I'm looking at, guys, we're lap 187 right now. And Andy, you remember lap 100 is when they start blowing some tires out with excessive heat, man. I'm looking at 13 more laps before we're hitting that other 100 lap mark. I think I'm going to be eyes wide open and wait to see who goes next.
Oh, you don't want to be the first one to have that problem. It's going to bring a caution out and save everybody else. But you don't want to be the first guy to have a tire problem.
Well, the first guy to have one tonight occurred on lap 96, and it was Martin Truax. He cut a right front tire and took A.J. Allmendinger with him. Welcome back to the Pennzoil Platinum NASCAR Sprint Cup Series event here at Bristol Motor Speedway. And we have contact on the racetrack, hard contact, the 31 car, Jeff Burton involved.
Yeah, Joe Nemechek's also in there, and I believe that's the 09 of Sterling Marlin.
Yeah, there's the 09. Heavy damage on the front of the winner here back in the spring.
Yeah, Burton's got big problems. He got a busted radiator. Looks like he's not real happy right here. That's putting it lightly.
Jeff Burton, who was being shown third in the point standings as of that moment. He was on his march to the front. He and Tony Stewart were actually running fourth, or I should say fifth and sixth at the time. Trying to work their way through traffic, and Burton wasn't able to get through.
Jeff's not very happy. This looks like something that maybe he was trying to get by some lap cars, and either they got together. I'm sure we'll see on the replay that he was just a victim here.
And we just documented a moment ago that that he was following, and the 20 car were going back and forth to get through traffic. There is Tony Stewart and the 09 of Sterling Marlin.
The 09 got with the 77 to start all of that, and then Tony, because the 09 came down, hit him, and then the...
Yeah, it looks like then it was a chain reaction.
Yeah. Which is going to happen
31 here. Because he's probably trying to avoid this, and then probably Nemechek got into him.
Take a closer look here as we see. It's just guys all going for the same part of real estate here, and then things behind that, they happen so quickly that you just don't have time to react.
Yeah, you can watch top of your screen. That's Nemechek behind the 31. Let's see what happens there with that contact.
I believe the problem was Nemechek ran into Burton, started to slow down. He saw what was happening, and Nemechek didn't slow down and knocked Jeff Burton into the wall. And that's why he's so frustrated.
Under caution for just the second time out here on lap 198.
Pit road's still closed because this car is down on the apron of the racetrack and kind of blocking the way for these guys to get down on pit road.
They will need to clean up the 31 car and clean up the oil coming from the front of that one. We will take a break and come back to cover pit stops. Working caution for the second time tonight here in Bristol Motor Speedway. Hard contact involving Tony Stewart. Contact with the 09 after there was a little bit of a shunt between the Sterling Marlin and the car of Sam Hornish. And then trying to woe down the 31 and 78, Nemechek and Jeff Burton. Burton, the most heavily damaged car of all. He has been taken to the care center to be checked out. We are under caution, and pit crews are getting set to service these cars on pit road for the second time tonight. There's the chain reaction, 09 and 77. Now out of the right side of your frame, there's a 78 and 31 who were trying to woe down, and heavy contact for Burton in the 31 car. Here's the leader coming down 30 miles an hour. Jamie.
And Clint Boyer rolls down in 7th position. He said he's just a tick tight. They're going to make one small air pressure adjustment on that right rear tire. 4 tires for Clint Boyer. They're going to put some Sunoco fuel in it. Remember, he gave away the race last night. He dominated, made a small mistake, finished second. Maybe a little redemption tonight. See him going to work on that left side. Let's go to Shannon Spade.
Jamie, Dave Blaney started this race 36. Right now he's running 12th. His car is starting to tighten up. You see the wrench. It went back in the window. They're going to try to loosen it up. 4 tires for Dave Blaney on this pit stop. Mike.
And you look at the triple pits now. Jeff Gordon complaining the car's getting a little bit tighter. Lots of conversation on the radio, really trying to break it down. Says it really pushes when he's on the brakes. 4 tires there. Meanwhile, Ryan Newman, he's got a pretty good race car, but it started to tighten up toward the end of that run. They'll make a track bar adjustment, add some tape, and put on 4 tires, Dave.
Another fast pit stop for leader Kyle Busch, 13.5 seconds. Got 4 fresh tires, air pressure adjustments all around, a small legal tug on the left front fender, and they sent it back out. The car wouldn't roll the center of the corner the way the leader liked it.
Carl Edwards up a spot. Jeff Gordon back one on that pit stop. Again, great pit work, as you heard Dave say, for the 18 of Steve Addington for Kyle Busch. So not only is the driver getting it done, the crew on pit road is getting it done. Here's the 31 car who was being shown third in the point standings. Hard impact for Jeff Burton. We're continuing on Jeff Burton's car, trying to get him back on the racetrack. Hammers flying. They're trying to get him back out. Leaders behind the pace car as he pull off. Let's listen in as we go full throttle for the restart.
Stay ready. Ready. Green flag, green flag, green flag. You're clear. He's 2 back. You're clear. Go inside. Step. Go inside. Here. Clear low. Clear all around. Outside. 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 Still out there.
'99 car, Carl Edwards goes by Ryan Newman for second spot. Let's see what the 24 can do with him. Jeff Gordon had gone downstairs to get around some traffic a moment ago on the restart.
It looks like Matt Kent's has got himself into position right now. He is 1 lap down, but if caution were to come out, he could get that free pass. But he's going to have to do some hard racing here.
Shannon is caught up with Jeff Burton down in the garage area.
Yeah, Doc, Jeff Burton is standing out here waiting for his guys to get the car back so we can get back out onto the track. Jeff, walk me through what happened from your point of view.
2 cars got together in front of me, and the car behind me didn't get slowed down. Just kind of a typical Bristol wreck. You can't see through these cars very well, and just the car behind me didn't get slowed down. Just wrong place, wrong time. AT&T Chevrolet was really fast. I was just kind of riding, to be honest, taking my time, and it didn't work out for us. But I'm really happy with the way the car ran, and I think our best is yet to come.
Yeah, obviously you guys came into this race looking for a solid finish. You won here in the spring. How much of a hit is this to your point standing?
I won't know till the race is over. We're in pretty good shape in the points, but things like this are going to hurt you. But it's nothing we could have done different tonight. We ran well, we put ourselves in good position, and we got wrecked. It's nothing, you can't lose sleep over things you can't control. We'll be okay.
All right, and you can see the guys busy at work on this 31 car, wanting to get Jeff Burton back onto the track. Doc?
The key words there were typical Bristol and visibility. That is an issue there, looking up at the back of these rear wings on these cars, DJ.
Yeah, that's one of the things that you lose with these cars is being able to see through the back glass into what's going on in front of that car.
Oh, we got a big crash down here.
Another chain reaction crash. Casey Kane involved. The 11 car involved Denny Hamlin. Casey Mears involved.
Casey Kane, man, this is going to be a big blow for him in points.
Heavy contact. There's the 7 of Robbie Gordon.
They're going to throw a red flag right here. The track is blocked. It's just that's extra fuel in the, there goes. He started it up just to put the fire out. That's just excess fuel in the tailpipe that was burning.
He's trying to get it started, Cole.
Sam Hornish, the front of his car, sheared away. There's Casey Kane.
He's just trying desperately to get this car to the pits. He knows, the implications of this and what it's going to do to him in points. He wants to get over there and get it fixed as quick as he can.
Casey Kane had lost 3 spots last week with that 40th place finish at Michigan. Here's Sam Hornish trying to get unbuckled. Oh, there's Casey. Oh, my. And he had been so good at this racetrack, one of his better racetracks, after finishing second here, leading over 300 laps in this race a year ago.
Now, restarts are probably the most dangerous time at this racetrack. all the cars have on fresh tires. Everybody's running hard. And
they were about a second a lap faster than they had been before the caution came out. I was looking for lap times. These new tires had them really glued to the racetrack and really running fast. Things just happen a lot quicker.
Yeah, and I wasn't seeing a lot of give and take back through the pack. Everybody was racing extremely hard, trying to hold their position or gain position, which is obviously what they're here to do. Casey wasn't a part of the original start of this accident. He just happened to be in the spot that collected him.
Team back there knowing they've got to have everything ready. Andy, you've lived this before. What's it like?
Yeah, it's not fun. But what you got to do as a crew chief is get everybody a job, coordinate this thing, and fix what needs to be fixed.
Show you what happened here, how this melee broke loose down in turns 1 and 2. There they are coming by the start-finish line. Contact. There's Mears.
Like Michael Waltrip was involved. 07 and Clint Boyer also involved. Gosh, what a wreck.
Reed Sorensen able to get stopped there somehow.
Looked like this started with Casey Mears just maybe not clearing the 55 car as he was coming off of turn 4, and that just started a big chain reaction accident going down into turn 1 then.
Easy, back it down, back it down, back it down, back it down, stay low, clear high now. Nice work, son.
Okay, here's Clint Boyer. You can see what happened here with him. There's contact in front of him.
Come on,
gets a piece of it.
Low, turn left, turn left, turn left.
And we didn't see him that much involved, but he's going to have some damage.
Yeah, he's
hitting the right front wheel.
He hit a lick on that right front. Right there. Yeah, that's going to. Oh man. Oh. He was able to keep it off the wall. Boyer was. Man, look at all these other cars.
And in terms of points, the two bubble drivers, Casey Kane, who was in 12th position, and Clint Boyer in 13th, both
Stay low, go low, go low. Come on, keep digging, all clear.
Wow, David Ruderman did a fantastic job right there in that UPS Toyota of missing that. He had his car almost completely sideways and was able to miss it. That's just, when you miss that, you just know that it could be your night. Things are going your way.
Announcement made today that Casey Mears, by the way, will become the 4th driver for their Richard Childress Racing. Let's go down to Dave.
And from the replays we've looked at, guys, Case, looks like you just got clipped.
No, I didn't get clipped. All I heard was clear, 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 and I moved up, and somebody was still there. So I don't know, man. I like my spotter. He's a good guy, man. But that's ridiculous. We just took a bunch of cars out for no reason. I was just running along. I heard clear, 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 and went up, and there was someone still there. So we just took out a bunch of cars for no reason, and ourselves. So pretty upset about it. There's a lot of people that got involved with that shouldn't have been involved at all because it shouldn't have happened.
Nice case. Glad you're okay.
One key thing here is the spotters are up on the roof going into turn 1, and they don't have a very good angle, at least coming off forward down the front straightaway to clear their driver. They have to make sure you can't call it very close there.
Yeah, it's probably the worst spot that they'd have, but as a spotter, you have to know that your driver's clear.
Robbie Gordon, Casey Kane, Sam Hornish, Casey Mears, Michael Waltrip, Clint Boyer, and we'll set some of the other damaged cars when we come back.
My company usually does well the week after the night race.
Big time hit here at Bristol, Tennessee. This is the typical Bristol. Unfortunately, it is the full contact stock car racing we talk about. And Casey Mears, if you just joined our coverage here, are the cars involved, the 7 cars involved. We are told, by the way, the 9 and 77 have been released. Sam Hornish, Michael Waltrip, Reed Sorensen. The initial incident, Casey Mears saying he was cleared by his spotter, pulled up and then hooked from behind by the 55 car of Michael Waltrip. This is tonight's Sprint Cup monster moment. There was the contact, the 5 and the 55, and then the 07 comes by, and then it all breaks loose, a big chain reaction behind him.
That's a monster crash right there.
For more monster moments, check out NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile. Another impact for this crash. We mentioned the guys that are trying to get in the chase. The 9 car of Casey Kane, who was 12th in points. The 07 of Clint Boyer involved. Also the guys in the top 35. Let's go down and check in where Shannon is caught up with Casey Kane.
Yeah, guys, we're down here with Casey Kane right now. He was just released from the infield care center. How are you, Casey? That was a big hit. How are you feeling right now?
I'm fine. It's disappointing. We had a pretty good car. We were like right there about 10th or so, trying to get better, and just blocked in behind a few cars, and then some cars in front of me started wrecking. I didn't really know who it was. I saw the 5 and the 55, and got hit from behind, so we just tore the car up pretty good, but it's the way it goes. This is a great place. A lot of fans here tonight. Just a bad race.
All right, certainly Casey Kane was looking for a good points night tonight. And you can see right behind him, guys, Robbie Gordon has also been released from the infield care center. You see the disappointment all over your face, Robbie. What happened?
I don't know what happened. It happened about 6 cars up in front of me. I saw the 5 and 55 go slide up the racetrack. It's like, oh, man, I hope these things don't stop. But just couldn't get it wound up. Casey hit somebody, and then I got in the back of him, and someone else got in the back of me. Just kind of a chain reaction. But we had a fast race car, so I'm disappointed about that, but excited that the guys have been doing a really good job on the team. Race cars are getting better, and I think Fontana next weekend is going to be a lot of fun.
All right. Good luck to you, Robbie. Now we can look over here. We see Sam Hornish Jr. has also been released from the infield care center. Definitely not where you wanted to end this race tonight. What happened out there for you?
The Mobile 1 Dodge, we didn't have quite a good handle on it is what we wanted. Just trying to, log some laps, make sure that we made it to the end. And, I saw the 5 car, go around and start sliding up the track. But by then there was already somebody beside me and just got on the brakes and tried to get away from it as much as I could. But I don't know, everything happens real quick here. It's been a real lot of fun for me to be able to run at Bristol the last 2 nights, and I feel like I learned a lot, but we still have a lot more to learn, so hopefully we'll get the Mobile 1 Dodge run a little bit better next time we come back.
All right, Sam, unfortunately the infield care center, a very busy place right here in Bristol tonight. Doc?
Not where you want to be, guys, and there's the carnage down there. Sam Hornish Jr., the 77 car. Again, it's important to stay in the top 35 in owners points, and right now that 77 car only 13 points to the good in 34th position. And we talked about how difficult it is to qualify at California next week. And there's the 9 car. He was hoping to be able to stay in chase contention after losing 3 spots last week by virtue of that 40th place finish at Michigan. There's the 07, the damaged car of Clint Boyer. Let's ride along with Clint and listen to what he heard.
Michael Waltrip is the worst driver in NASCAR, period. Could not believe Napa signed back on him.
It looks like Clint saw that just a little different, maybe even than Casey Mears. Those guys did get together. Maybe Michael could have given him a little extra room. But we heard Casey say that his spotter told him he was clear and he just wasn't clear.
Yeah, and sometimes, you don't know exactly what happened. Again, it's hard to see through these cars and things. I don't know that Michael really did anything wrong there. If he checks up down the straightaway, he's going to get run into from behind. So Bristol, short track, fast racing.
The full gamut of emotions, and obviously the 07 car, just instant emotion after being involved in an incident a moment ago. Kevin Harvick behind his teammate, the 07. Harvick has come from the middle of the pack and somehow gets through it. He now sits 7th on the grid as we are red flagged at Bristol.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series from Bristol, presented by Pennzoil Platinum, brought to you by Allstate. Are you in good hands? We have been under the red flag after a multi-car pileup blocked the racetrack. Now the red has been rescinded. The field again motoring around under the yellow, though pit road not yet opened. Clint Boyer has been on pit lane, though, while it was still closed. That bubble boy in the race to the chase, needing a little bit of work from his crew and trying to get a head start on that with these quick caution flag laps that happen here at Bristol. Now, we heard Clint Boyer's frustration a little earlier. Frustration? Well, he's not the only one on the radio. This is Casey Mears.
I wasn't clear. God dang it.
And that, as you heard from Casey Mears as well out of the car a moment ago, led to the big mess that swept up, among others, the 9 car of Casey Kane, one of the drivers oh so close to trying to lock up a place in the chase. Pit road is open. And it looks like the front runner is going to choose to stay on the racetrack here. And so now that the field has cycled around through a little scoring loop, let's check those race to the chase standings, and we're going to find that 9 cars paying a price.
Yeah, he is paying a price right now, but Alan, the biggest thing these guys got to do right now is get these cars fixed, get them back in the racetrack, even they're going to be off, get some points back. Take a look at Reagan in the top 12 right now. I tell you, Brad, that's a big move for that kid. He's been running good all night long.
He has been very consistent, and the scary thing is Clint Boyer drops out of sight. He's down to 14th position right now. He's got a lot of damage to that race car. He's got a lot of work he needs to do. It's going to be a long night for that 07.
Remember, David Reagan started last in a backup car. He's running 14th now. We'll track the repairs on Casey Kane and Clint Boyer's machines when we come back to Thunder Valley.
Getting set for the restart here at Bristol, Tennessee. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series action at Bristol. And for you Jeff Burton fans, folks, the news is not good. He is officially retired for the night. And right now that car being shown in 40th position. That would be his worst finish of the year. Only his second DNF and a tough one for Burton here with 3 races to go before the chase begins. Kyle Busch leads him down out of turn 4. Carl Edwards in pursuit. Jeff Gordon, Denny Hamlin, and Tony Stewart. That's a top 5.
Matt Kenseth got the free pass this last round. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is now moving closer to getting that free pass. He's got a few more cars to get around before he gets a position.
You can see him there on the high side trying to take one of those spots away from one of the guys that he's racing.
With Kenseth back on the lead lap, that puts just 19 cars on the lead lap. There have been just 3 leaders thus far tonight, 3 lead changes. Pole sitter Carl Edwards there in the 99 led twice for 53 laps. Kyle Busch has led the last 170 laps. The other lap leader, by the way, Jeff Gordon for a single lap.
Carl's looking pretty racy right here. He's able to keep pace with Kyle Busch.
Yeah. You know, Joe Gibbs Racing was in the news this week for other reasons, but right now they've got their 3 cars in the top 5 at Bristol. Dave?
And guys, you know how teams scan each other to hear what each other are saying. And Carl wondered during that stop if Bob Osborne had heard anything about the 18 car. Bob said, you know, not really. They're just about the same as us. Well, I think that might have encouraged Carl that we can get him in his condition. It's the same as us.
Battle heating up for 3rd position. Jeff Gordon, Denny Hamlin, Tony Stewart is there. Boy, how quickly things can change to 24-11, having miserable finishes at Michigan a week ago. Jeff Gordon finishing 42nd. Denny Hamlin so frustrated, and they roar back here at Bristol, both running in the top 5.
You can see Jeff Gordon move up the racetrack. Denny Hamlin's trying to make his car stick down on the inside. This has been a tough pass for everybody all night, but Denny's been able to make this work coming up through the field to get himself up to 4th spot.
See Tony being real patient behind these guys. Also saw some smoke from underneath the 20 getting in the corner. That's that splitter hitting the ground. When these guys run these fast lap times with good tires, you'll see that.
While these 3 battle here side by side or down, that's allowing the front 2 to get away a little bit. Now Hamlin gets enough grip to pull up alongside the 24 car. Can he get by, though?
Yeah, he made a really good run off of that corner just a minute ago. It looked like his car's really fast. Oh, that's exactly what happened a while ago.
That's the same thing we saw a while ago. These guys just by inches. Whoa, and you see the 20 car going up the racetrack.
And Jeff Gordon is almost sideways again behind the 20 car. He gathers it back up.
They kind of used up the 24 there for a minute. They didn't mind doing that and went on and
looked like Jeff just had to get completely out of the gas.
88 car behind him there. That's Earnhardt Jr. He's being shown a lap down in 22nd position.
You see the 12 car of Ryan Newman coming into the picture there. He's in 6th. He's had a good race car for most of the night, but on this set of tires, his car wasn't as good on the start of the run. So it's going to be interesting to see. He was really fast as we got a lot of laps on the tires earlier.
I heard Jeff say he better be ready. I don't think he was happy about this move right here. First he got cut off by the 11. Gets a little nudge from Tony.
He's going to get a bigger one right here.
You know, there were 11 cars that didn't pit under that caution. Andy, with all the debris that was put down on that racetrack from the wreck, I'll bet there's a lot of crew chiefs worrying about picking up something and getting a flat.
Yeah, you're right, Alan, but they just spent a lot of time cleaning that racetrack up. I was watching the cleanup, and they've had a lot of trucks, a lot of vacuum vehicles out there, and they didn't roll the cars until they cleaned up the track. They threw that red flag right away, so they may have a chance of being okay on that deal.
Jeff Gordon now starting to move away a little bit from 12 car after Ryan Newman had reeled him in, but now Newman falls back into the clutches of Kevin Harvick, and that's the battle right behind him. There's a 12 car, and Harvick now trying to make the pass on Newman. He has to get low down behind Tony Raines in the 70.
Yeah, that's where Newman's car was really good the first couple of runs. He just doesn't seem to have it right yet, and maybe he's waiting on those tire pressures to come up a little bit more before his car comes in. So we see Kevin Harvick trying to go around Tony Raines in the 70 car here. We heard Harvick made some adjustments on his car earlier. He said he was too loose. They took a rubber out, made him a little bit too tight, so they've had to make some other adjustments. But we still have just over half of the race to go, so they'll have a couple more chances on pit road to make some more adjustments to it.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is now within one spot of being in that lucky dog position.
07 car, Clint Boyer. There's a 22 car. Good run for Dave Blaney, who was all the way up in the top 10 a moment ago, and is being shown in 16th position. Look at the bubble tracker there. David Reagan. You see he is now 12th overall in the points, coming from 43rd starting spot. Let's update the 07 of Clint Boyer. Jamie.
Well, Doc, when you look at the 07, he looks just fine, but he actually had severe right front fender damage. He also knocked the toe out. The team had to come down pit road 3 different times to pull that fender off the tire. The good news was the splitter was intact. The bad news is his toe is still off. That steering wheel is not sitting straight. They desperately want to come down for a 4th pit stop, guys, but there's just too much to give up as he sits 13th in the points right now.
Yeah, Jamie, they've done a great job of getting this car fixed, and he is very competitive. They may still can work on it some more and get it better if they can fix that toe.
Andy, I can actually look at the right front tire on the 07 car when it comes at you. So that last camera shot, it looks like he's got a lot of toe out. Take a look at that thing.
Oh, yeah, he definitely does, Russ. You can see that.
It's definitely toed out, so that's really going to wear the inside of the tires. I don't know how much longer he can make it, but he can probably get away with it for a while, but that's definitely going to cause the car to not handle right, that's for sure.
And you can really see those brakes, DJ, glowing on the outside there, that 07.
Yeah, his probably car's not turning as well in the center of the corner, so he's having to use more brake, and that could create another problem that he definitely doesn't need to happen.
Back to the 24 car, Jeff Gordon. Let's listen in.
20, when I get to him, it is done. I didn't do a thing right there. He runs flat over me. That was cool. Is this your mark? Do your thing. It's your mark. Do your thing. If you have any trouble, remember, front stretch only.
Okay, now what you heard Steve Letarte say, if you have any trouble, it's front stretch only. They're talking about coming down the pit road and not using both pit roads when you pit under green. That's in case he has a flat, not to lose all that time. That's happened to Jeff here before, where he's come down the wrong pit road and had to use the whole pit road front and back. Lost a ton of time. I talked to Steve about that this morning, and that was their communication. They're going to say, okay, front stretch only under green.
Probably on the heels of the rubbing and bumping incident we saw a little bit ago. We'll make sure if you have a problem, you know how to get there in a hurry. Kyle Busch has led 194 laps. Back in a moment.
Just past halfway in our NASCAR Sprint Cup Series coverage from Bristol tonight, presented by Pennzoil Platinum. Lap 256 complete of 500, and Kyle Busch is the race leader. When the race is over tonight and our race coverage concludes, over on ESPN2, it's the wrap-up edition of NASCAR Now. More post-race reaction and interviews with drivers. That's 11:30 Eastern Time. Tomorrow, the IndyCar Grand Prix of Sonoma, the featured auto race, ESPN2, 5:30 Eastern Time. Then our NASCAR Now Monday roundtable, 5 Eastern. We'll have some things to talk about after this one. And then next weekend, the primetime races from California, the Nationwide Series on Saturday, the Camping World 300, and the Pepsi 500 for the Sprint Cup Series on Sunday night. That's all the motorsports coming up on the ESPN networks. While Kyle Busch continues to lead, we've got 18 of the original 43 starters on the lead lap. Kyle opening up about a second and a third on Carl Edwards, and already back in lap traffic. A couple guys we've been kind of keeping an eye on working their way through the field. One is the 8 car, Eric Almirola.
Eric Almirola's doing great in that DEI car. That thing's handling good. And I'll tell you what, guys, you've been in the top 10 almost all night long. Kid does a good job driving. We generally see Mark Martin driving this car, but man, he looks like a veteran tonight, that's for sure.
He was the first one off of pit road of the cars that stopped under the red, the yellow after the red flags. He restarted 12th, so he's the first one on fresh tires, and he's up to 8th. And then just a couple of spots behind him, 9th place, Jamie McMurray.
Jamie's having a real nice run tonight. I mean, he's up 30 spots since the start of the race. He's taking great care of the race car. He's got himself out where there's no one around. He can make solid laps. I look at Jamie advancing his position, going up and trying to challenge Eric here real soon. And remember, Eric had an 8th place finish here his last time out at Bristol.
41st to 9th for Jamie McMurray. Very nice drive for the Missouri native. So again, just past halfway, it's been Kyle Busch for quite some time now. In fact, he's led the race basically since about lap 55, Doc.
And Kyle Busch, here's the good news for Kyle Busch. He has dominated the laps led of 209 laps. Here's the bad news. The car that has led the most laps here has not won the last 5 races at Bristol in a row. So he's going to buck history maybe tonight, see if he can pull it off. His teammate, by the way, Tony Stewart, had led the most laps in 3 of the last 5 and didn't win any of them.
Now this kid's bucked history all year long, winning in everything.
Dave, this is the most consecutive laps a driver has led all season long. That's Kyle Busch, is pretty good.
Very fast race car. I asked Steve Addington right there in the pit box about his qualifying lap that was only 9th best, and he said, I left his car a little tight because I didn't want him to mess up his qualifying lap. I wanted a good pit stall selection. That's pit stall number 5 right there, close to the exit. We found last week when we were further down pit road, there was a lot of people to pass, a lot of people in our way on the way out. I wanted to be as close to the exit of pit road as possible, and a 9th place, decent qualifying run got them that. If they'd left the car too loose, going for a pole, he said I might have been back in the 20s, and that would have been bad.
And there's what he's talking about right there. Right close to the exit, Steve Addington and the crew.
These pit selections are real important on short tracks, especially. A lot of the pit stops are made under caution, and having that pit stall down towards the exit is an advantage.
It's a pretty good advantage to have a fast car like that, too, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, he's doing that. He's got a great race car tonight.
Going by the 45 car, Kyle Petty back in the car this week after taking some weeks off. Had Terry Labonte in the car. There's the 18 of Kyle Busch, his 57th race this year. Bristol, Tennessee, 3 races remain until the chase, the postseason begins. And here's the ticket to the chase. All races televised live on ABC. We kick off the chase 1 p.m. Eastern time at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And we wind it down with championship weekend, Homestead Miami Speedway, November 16th, 3 o'clock Eastern time. And what a chase this should be this year. It is shaping up to be a very, very competitive chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. To be part of the action, get your tickets at www.nascar.com/tickets.
Kyle Busch is still the leader. He's having pretty much his own way with this lap traffic, but then he gets to a certain few cars that give him a little bit more problem, but he's able to stay ahead. We have one on the wall.
Dave Blaney just nosing down. Oh, just getting by.
Kyle Busch just missed 22.
Wow, the 15 and 18 just barely got by.
Well, that's a hard lick for Dave Blaney.
It'd be interesting to see if he got help there, but this was coming off of turn 2 and just shot down across to the inside wall.
Blaney had moved up all the way to 12th position just a few laps ago, and
man, he was having a great run. This is the second hard crash in a row. He had the accident at Michigan last week. He was okay from that. That's a hard hit. We see him moving around inside the car.
Well, you just want so many good things to happen for Bill and Gail Davis and this team that trying to keep things together. Dave Blaney driving his heart out here today. This is what you talked about a week ago.
Yeah, just an innocent victim right here. Lucky the car didn't turn over, but it was a hard hit on the driver's side. But Dave was okay. Had a good run going at Michigan also. And just a moment ago, as he came off of turn 2, he was in a pack of cars.
It's another one of these things where you see these guys get together. They're not quite clear. And then Dave's a victim.
There's Menard. There comes Kyle Busch, just barely by in front. Now watch the 15 and 18 split him on either side.
Kyle Busch saw it happen and backed down. Gave himself plenty of room there, but
great job.
He thought it was plenty of room. Yeah, that's heads-up driving.
Fortunately, Dave out of the car with that almost head-on lick into the inside wall.
Man, he had such a good run. It's just heartbreaking. You see these guys having good runs and people that really need good runs. And to have something like that to happen, is particularly when it's not your fault.
Yeah, he's looking for somebody, looking up on the racetrack. Not a happy camper. Going to go up and let his emotions be known. They're going to steer him over toward the ambulance.
They have a safer barrier on the inside wall as well, so that was good news for Dave.
He was running 12th, and now he's headed to the garage area. Tough night for Dave Blaney. Working lap 286 of the Sharpie 500. We are under caution for the 4th time tonight. There's the reason for the yellow flag. Heavily damaged Toyota of Dave Blaney. Here's what happened to Dave Blaney just a moment ago. Right side of your screen, there's the contact, the 0-1 and 28.
Yeah, it looked like the 28 just ran the 0-1 out of racing room, and Dave Blaney had to take evasive action, and unfortunately it got his car loose and he hit the inside wall.
Let's check out our Allstate Good Hands move of the race. Watch our leader, Kyle Busch, somehow avoid this. Oh.
And that's even harder than it looks, because even though he was slowing down, when you get down on that part of the track right here, that gets really slick, and he had to make a turn. He could have easily spun the car out right there.
On behalf of Kyle Busch, Allstate will donate $1,000 to the Urban Youth Racing School. Been that kind of year for Kyle Busch.
Yeah, he's kind of done everything right and been in the right place most of the time. And when he's not in the right place, he does a great job of avoiding.
He makes his own luck sometimes.
He does.
He did right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pit road's still closed because they've got that car of Dave Blaney down there at the exit of the backstretch pit area.
You know, we were talking about Clint Boyer, who was involved in that previous accident and how it knocked a toe in out, and you saw that. But he's worked his way back to 11th spot.
Yeah, a lot of times when you get that toe in knocked out like that, it's not that big of a disadvantage on a short track. I've seen it sometimes actually make your car better. You know, it may end up putting a little more wear on one of the tires that you don't want to see, but it's working pretty good right now. His car's been real fast since the restart. Jamie?
Hey guys, you're talking about the plan for the 07. Actually, Clint Boyer just radioed in and said, all right, are you going to be able to fix that toe? And Gil said, you know what? We can't. We cannot afford to lose so much track position. So they're planning on coming in. They're going to take 4 tires. Check the tire wear. Of course, you guys said it's off skew, and we'll see how that wears. You can see it right there on that, looking at it the left side from here. But it's knocked out incredibly, but right now they don't have time to fix it.
Yeah, I like that call. That's exactly what I would do right now because the car's running real well. I'm going to see what this toe end actually looks like. You know, it's just really the relationship of the 2 front tires, and you get against the wall, or like we saw Clint Boyer get against another car, can bend some of these rods, these suspension rods here that hold the toe end straight, and that's toe out right there, as you see, and that's kind of what's happening to Clint. See the car, if you happen to get up into the wall like that right there, it can just toe that right front tire out. But I swear, Dale, I've seen that actually make cars better.
Andy, I actually had that happen at Martinsville one time and almost won the race, and I was questioning why the next time we went there, we didn't come back with the toe end way out. They wouldn't do that. Here comes Boyer on the pit road now. Jamie?
And you guys, you said it sometimes does make your car better. He was turning lap times faster than the leader of Kyle Busch. So right now, like I said, they're going to work on the right side. They're going to change 4 tires and make an air pressure adjustment, because he did say he's a little tight in the center, but doesn't want to give up too much. Again, that right front, the toe is out. No time to change it. He's down and away. Mike?
And Denny Hamlin pretty happy with his race car. In fact, if you look at his lap times when he's in clean air, he's as fast as the leader. A little bit tight. They're going to make a chassis adjustment on the right rear, half round down. They'll also make an air pressure adjustment on the 11, Dave.
Leader Kyle Busch in tight in the center. Catch can man Jason Hinson's already made a wedge adjustment, air pressure as well. Bottom of your screen, Carl Edwards, a little loose in, tight in the center. Air pressure only for Edwards on their stop.
18 is down and away.
How about Jeff Gordon gains a couple spots on pit road?
How about those boys from a week ago? Probably they talked about that was about pride, what they were going to do this week and make it up to him. They have done it in that stop.
Stewart loses 3 spots off pit road.
26 crew cam. This is the jack man, Sean Irvin, out of Monterey, California. Yeah, he's the cousin to Ernie Irvin. Let's watch him at work.
Jackman's really the quarterback of the pit crew because he is the one that determines when the car is ready to go. He has to make sure these guys get all the lug nuts tight, and when they do, he can let it go. It's his call.
Good job of those guys. And how about Jamie Mcmurray from 41st starting spot? He told me this morning prior to the race that even though he qualified worse, they went up and got the setup off his teammate's car, Carl Edwards, who put it on the pole. And he said in the final practice session, we were really, really good. And that's proven out here tonight. Well, I think Shannon is caught up with Dave Blaney.
Yeah, Doc, a disappointed Dave Blaney. You guys were having such a great run. What's the emotion like right now, Dave?
Well, that's I think that's 3 in a row we've been knocked out of, and man, that's hard to take. And running good in 2 of them, ran good last week, and kept going forward tonight, was looking good. And I don't know, a couple of them got together and they just kind of bounced into me. So that's the hazards of Bristol. I just wish it wouldn't happen to me.
Yeah, Doc, and of course Dave Blaney not running for a championship, but trying to stay in that top 35 in owner points.
They will try to get that car repaired and get him back out. Got to be so disappointing. 3 weeks in a row, he might have had a top 10 finish. The Rose Bowl of racetracks. We call it NASCAR Sprint Cup action at Bristol Motor Speedway. Set for the restart. Kyle Busch leads him down, and on the bottom of the racetrack, the first car lap down, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was trying to hang there and couldn't quite as Busch, Edwards, and Gordon pull away.
He got caught sleeping just a little bit on that restart. Kyle Busch got a great start on him. But he's in the right spot. He's still in that lucky dog spot.
Yeah, Paul Menard, who we saw barely miss the 22 car on that last accident, he got the free pass, so he's back on the lead lap. Jeff Gordon's crew really stepped it up. He had dropped back to about 6th there, and they came out in 3rd spot. That was a great job by those guys.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., if you just joined our coverage and wondering why he is a lap down, a bit of a mistake on the start of the race.
Yeah, on the start of the race, you're not allowed to pass anybody either side before you cross the start-finish line, and Junior passed about 3 cars before they got the green flag was waving, but he was a little too anxious. The guys in front of him weren't going.
He treated this like a restart, which this would be legal if it was a restart, but on the initial start, like you said, you got to stay in line. And Junior gets quite a few spots, but he had to give them all back.
There's the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. He was involved in an incident on lap 26. Jimmy Johnson had contact, had to come down pit road for repair. There's the 48 car that spent time behind the wall. Jimmy Johnson now being shown 15 laps down in 33rd position. Here was lap 25. Jimmy Johnson watched the contact. Robbie Gordon.
Yeah, he was having some problems. He'd already had a little contact with the 09 of Sterling Marlin, and then he had a flat tire. And you see all these guys just trying to avoid Jimmy. They spent all that time. They lost most of these laps on pit road after this happened and getting it fixed, but he's been pretty competitive since.
So we have had 5 chasers, race drivers that are currently in the chase involved in incident tonight. You've heard Dale Earnhardt Jr. jump in the start. Jimmy Johnson with the flat tire, losing 15 laps. Jeff Burton has called it tonight, his 2nd DNF of the year. Casey Kane is off the racetrack still. He is being shown in 35th spot. Clint Boyer is the only one of those that's been able to get back on the track among those in the accident, I should say. And the 07 car now being shown in 9th position. Here's the points shuffle.
Yeah, we see Boyer now back in the top 12 because he's racing his way back through there. Reagan's close, though. He's 11 points back.
Yeah, but let's give a call to Clint Boyer. He's doing a terrific job driving that race car that I know is not handling very well. Here we see David Reagan, who's sitting just outside that top 12. He's had a good night. This is a backup car. He crashed in qualifying yesterday, but he's come from 43rd to get himself in a position and keep himself in a position right now.
I talked to Jimmy Finnick, his crew chief, and they had to start last, like you said, and he said he was going to try to keep him out of trouble to at least halfway, and then they're just going to have to start racing. They're in a position they have to start racing.
Yeah, he's just in front of his Roush teammates there. You see Matt Kenseth, who has already had to get the free pass one time, and then Greg Biffle, who we're riding along with here. So Reagan's having a good run tonight.
They are in 13th and 14th. Right on with our Wrangler telemetry on board with Greg Biffle.
These guys really have to baby that throttle off the corner to keep the rear tires hooked up. And the more laps they put on the tires, the more they have to do that.
I think Greg's probably going to be a little disappointed with this run. I think he was expecting a little more out of his car tonight, and it just hasn't happened. See Matt Kenseth slide up, almost getting into the side of David Rudiman there. That's just a product of this racing.
Yeah, Rudiman being shown 1 lap down in 20th spot.
Kenseth made the most of this lucky dog he got. This free pass. Once he got that, he's been pretty fast since.
Yeah.
44 cars there as well. Shannon.
Yeah, on that last pit stop, David Rudiman, they made some major adjustments to that car. Track bar, air pressure. Car still feels like it will not turn for David Rudiman. Really struggling with that car here today, guys.
David began the night with his career best start outside the front row, and I know a lot of us down in the garage here, he had high hopes that this might be his night to make some noise and maybe get that Cup victory.
Yeah, I know we talked to him in pre-race, and he just wasn't that confident in his car, that they were still struggling. This is exactly what they've been struggling with. Make that car turn in the center. Seems like every time they make it do that a little bit better, then he's so loose off that he can't go anywhere. So it's a problem that they're still working to try to fix.
Andy, there's Tony Raines in the 70 car. We haven't said much about Tony, but he has done a very nice job the last few weeks in that car, qualifying it and running well in race traffic.
Yeah, this is his kind of racetrack. He's a short track racer, and I really like his style. He keeps the car out of trouble, still runs hard. You see here, even in this tight spot, he's using a lot of patience. It'll pay off well here at this racetrack.
11th position. David Reagan, that we were just talking about, from where he started, shotgun on the field in the backup car, going by the 5-time Bristol winner, Kurt Busch, for position.
Like I said, that's what Jimmy Finnick said to me, that they were going to get to halfway and try to stay out of trouble, and then start racing these guys hard, because they don't have a choice. They've only got a couple of races to try to drive into this chase, and they're just going to have to go. They're just going to go for it.
Jimmy Finnick, how much of an asset is that when you got someone like Finnick that can make those calls for David Reagan? I mean, what a difference he has made.
Yeah, he's made a huge difference in that young man. Having a young driver like that and having that experience there helping you out, that's just a huge advantage.
Young drivers, well, can't get much better than the 23-year-old in that car right there. Kyle Busch showing the way here at Bristol. Welcome back to the Pennzoil Platinum NASCAR Sprint Cup Series event here in Thunder Valley, Bristol Motor Speedway. 323 laps are complete. Kyle Busch has led 269 of them. There's Kyle going by the 48 car, Jimmy Johnson. That's now being shown 16 laps down in 33rd position. Carl Edwards running in 2nd position. Jeff Gordon back in 3rd. Things starting to mix up toward the back there. There's the 44 car.
Yeah, we've been watching the 70 and 44 go at each other back and forth, and it looks like there's maybe a little tempers flaring between these two. It's like all the letters are rubbed off all the tires on this 70.
They've been single file, 2 wide, and 3 wide. You see him up.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's a reason to get a little upset. Bobby Labonte taking advantage of that. Oh, yeah.
Bobby says, while you guys wreck each other, I'm going to go ahead and take the spot away.
Rudiman's car looks like he's kind of gone away from him. He's pretty good on the fresh tires, but that problem in the center seems to make it a little bit worse as he runs on. We see Elliot Sadler there on the bottom of the racetrack. He's had a number of problems tonight. Started with sliding through his pit area or into it and against the walls, and then he had his seat belts to come undone. Had to come back in under green to get those fastened back. You don't hear that much today happening. It used to happen, you could get caught with the buckles that we used to have then, but with these seat belts now, it's just highly unusual that something like that would take place.
Lots of traffic for our leader, Kyle Busch. We mentioned that the driver who has led the most laps in the last 5 Bristol races has failed to win it, which means that it's hard to dodge bullets here all night long for 500 laps.
Now, Kyle's done a good job of it tonight. He has been in heavy traffic almost all night long. He's shown great patience, as he is right here.
You know, sometimes it's harder. You'd think that the leader, because these guys are getting the passing flag from them first, with him being the leader. But a lot of times, if guys aren't a lap down, that flagman's not going to give that. He's going to let them race. So sometimes it's harder being the leader and being patient like Kyle Busch has done tonight. You know, he wants to lead. That's not hard, but it makes it difficult to go through traffic, which he's encountered for a lot of those laps that he's led.
They put Regan Smith a lap down. He was being shown in 15th position.
Yeah, the one thing about that is Dale Earnhardt Jr. was in that spot, and now the more cars that Kyle Busch laps, the farther away Jr. gets from that lucky dog spot. He's been really working on it all night long, trying to get that lap back. But Kyle Busch making it tough. He's lapped a lot of race cars.
Here are the next candidates for Kyle to pass. We're talking about the 16 and 17. The teammate, Roush Fenway teammates of Biffle and Kenseth, who are running in 13th and 14th. These are the last cars on the lead lap, and Kyle Busch trying to run them down.
And you remember just a few minutes ago, David Reagan was right in front of these guys. Well, he's passed them, gone on past his other teammate, Jamie Mcmurray, and moved into the top 10. Andy, we look pretty decent here. Your guys in Eric Almirola's in 9th, and David Reagan's in 10th. So for once, we look like we sometimes wouldn't know what we're talking about.
Looks pretty racy.
I'll give it to you guys. You pick Eric Almirola and have a lot of experience here, and DJ, you picked a guy in a backup car starting 43rd as your sleeper, and you're looking awful good.
See Kurt Busch here. He had gotten a free pass earlier and actually driven himself up into the top 10, but it looks like he's struggling a little bit on this run as he battles with Greg Biffle here.
These guys are actually pretty safe from going a lap down because they're about almost a half a lap ahead of Kyle Busch. They are the last cars on the lead lap.
Up front, Kyle Busch, Edwards, Gordon, Hamlin, and Harvick. That's the top 5, and Kyle Busch just set and sail. Dave?
And Kyle and Carl have been the fastest 2 cars all night. They'll know they'll have to race each other for the win. Listen to them sizing each other up under green just a few laps ago.
Might as well just tighten it up a titch because in the long run we're better than him, but I don't want him to beat me on the short run. We get a short run down to the end or something stupid.
And guys, Carl Edwards came back and talked about how he saw that the 18 car was loose at the start of that run, and that was what Kyle was reporting. So those two are watching what each other are doing. They know where they can beat each other. Carl on the short run, but right now Kyle's got him beat on the long run. And he hasn't passed him yet, by the way, guys. You know, Carl says he hasn't beat on the short run. He's just that much better on the short run. He still hasn't gotten by him.
Yeah, it's real simple. We're way better on the short run. About 10 laps in, when we start getting a little tight in the center, he's pretty good because he's too loose to begin. I can get him on the short run, he's just a tick quicker right now in the center.
What he's got to hope for then is a yellow flag with a few laps to go and get him a shot, maybe.
They've sized each other up pretty well there.
Yeah, we've seen Carl have some trouble making those passes on the inside, and I'm pretty sure Kyle Busch knows that too. He watched that earlier. That's how he got by him originally.
A week ago, it was Kyle Busch trying to run this guy, Carl Edwards, down. Kyle was so good in the middle of the race. Carl was good toward the end. And we will see caution again for the 5th time. This one is debris on the racetrack.
Yeah, and it came off the 44 car, and if you were wondering, Dale Earnhardt Jr. did not get that. We documented earlier that he was the first car, but Kyle Busch has gone on since then and lapped Paul Menard and Regan Smith in the 0-1.
Yeah, that's the whole back bumper or TV panel off of the 44 car from earlier contact. It stayed up in the fence.
Yes, up on the safer barrier there for a minute, but chances were that was going to come down pretty quickly, and NASCAR couldn't take that chance of someone running over it. But they'd been beaten on that rear.
And they finally knocked it off, didn't they?
Some of the braces in the back of the car they use to try to protect themselves and the fuel cell. And this in the entire sleeve of sheet metal.
Leaders are on pit road. Jamie.
And they're making an air pressure adjustment on that right front to protect the wear because of that toe out condition. So Clint said he feels the car taking longer to come around, but he said, I want to protect these tires. You see him taking it off that right front. So far, so good. He worked his way up into the top 8 position, working their way around on the left side. Quick pit stops all night for the 07, 14.9 down and away. Mike?
Jeff Gordon said during that last run he cut a lot better, but could use a little bit more help with his drive off. They're going to make a chassis adjustment and 4-tire change in the 24, Dave.
The leader with a loose race car wants half of the wedge adjustment back, so they're going to do that. Carl, to get a little bit better on the long runs, they're going to make an air pressure adjustment for his race car. Let's watch a race off pit road, see if the 18 crew can do it again. A little bit, yeah, 1/10 of a second longer. I think that's another good stop.
Race off of pit road. Again, great pit work down there. No change in the top 5. And Boyer, you saw the good work over there. Jamie was talking about up a spot. Tony Stewart back 1. And David Reagan continuing their miraculous run there in the top 10. Well, both these guys know how to win at Bristol, Tennessee. In 2007, in the 5 car, it was Kyle Busch winning in the spring. And when they turned the lights on in August, yeah, it was Carl Edwards that spanked them. How good are these guys here? Kyle Busch currently leading the Pennzoil Platinum at Bristol, Tennessee. Pace car pulls away. Let's listen in as we go full throttle.
Ready? Green. You're clear now. You're clear. Clear low. Clear. Inside. Still inside. Got the 8 going with us. Clear. Still outside at your door there. Still outside the 8. Still outside the 8 there. Still. Just shoot him. Clear by 5. 29. Outside. Still in there. That's your quarter. Clear low right now. Dig. Outside. Inside and outside. Clear high.
These guys were 3 wide in turn 3 a moment ago.
All the way down the backstretch, they were 3 wide.
Matt Kenseth, the 17 car, being shown on the lead lap in 14th position. That's Mcmurray in the 26, his teammate in 13th. Up front, Kyle Busch. Andy, you were talking about it when that restart came. Kyle Busch ran the first lap on the green at 16 seconds flat.
Yeah, this is amazing how fast they're running right now. Carl, he's faster than Kyle on these restarts, but he still can't get by him. Just like Dave said, he's faster, but it's one thing to be faster. It's another thing to get around him.
Yeah, he's tried to the inside. Kyle's not giving much there. There he went high trying to get a nice run off the corner.
He might have it here.
Here he goes.
Corner, door.
He might get to the inside, but I'm going to find it hard to believe he's going to make that pass.
Oh, Kyle got a bit of a wiggle coming up off the corner. Let's see if Carl can set it up again.
Corner. You can ride all up here. Back in line.
Yeah, we've seen Carl have that problem all night, and other cars, good cars, but it just doesn't seem to be the grip down there with the horsepower these cars have, Andy, that you can complete that pass.
This is great racing. Now look at these guys. This is 2 pros really going at it.
These fans have not sat down since the restart. They are loving this.
Okay, let's try the outside right here, boys.
Now, this might have some potential
he might have some potential here. Here we go.
Ah, boy, look at the horsepower for Kyle Busch pulling him back, but Carl not going to let up.
That's impressive.
Wow. I thought that Carl had him right there. But it could be Carl's tire. He said his car got a little bit tight after they ran about 10 laps.
Just shoot him. Pick him apart.
And that could be hurting him right now. Kyle's pulling away a little bit.
And the 24 was running them down a moment ago when they were trying to go side by side. That was Jeff Gordon was loving that. Now they've gotten back single file. They have pulled back out by a couple more car lengths. Denny Hamlin. Remember, he talked about the frustration of climbing out of the car at Michigan a week ago. Well, these 2 guys both need a good top 5 finish here.
I think both of these guys would be happy to finish right where they are. Now, not to say that they won't go for more if the chance comes about, but they really need a good finish.
Yeah, they're great competitors, and they want to win, but they know that if they could just sit in that spot right there the rest of the night, they'd be extremely happy. You can see the 99 just up in front of them. Car starting to slide a little bit in the center. He ran his car awful hard there. I wonder if he abused his tires a little bit too much right at that point in time, trying to get the lead away.
Looks like he's searching around the racetrack a little bit right now, trying to find something. He was running kind of the middle to the lower side of the track. Now he's up high. He's got to do something if he's going to try to get by this 18.
The 07 who came in concerned about just being able to be in the chase. He's been involved. He's been a cue ball, been bounced off of, been hit, been hammered, been on pit road, and now Clint Boyer has driven that car back into 7th position.
And he's driven it back into the chase, into the top 12 as of now. Uh-oh, caution's back out. Don't see anything.
6 caution flagging tonight. We'll bring it out on lap 364.
Now the key thing right here is it can make it from here on fuel, not like we're not going to see another caution.
Just take care of it here.
Be interesting to see if they stay out.
I think they're going to stay out.
They last pitted on 345, so just 20 laps ago. But they could make it from here on fuel. The question is, who's going to gamble, and is that a long way to go on one set of tires? We'll answer those questions when we come back. Under caution here for the 6th time tonight in the Sharpie 500 Bristol Motor Speedway. The leaders did indeed stay on the racetrack, but the cars on the lead lap from 9th on back, 9th to 15th, have been on pit road for stops. Eric Almirola, Greg Biffle has been in, Jamie Mcmurray, Kurt Busch, Matt Kenseth, and the 01 of Regan Smith. They have been on pit road for fresh tires.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to line up on the inside here. Try to get this lap back. He's worked hard all night long trying to get that lap back.
Now that last caution was for debris on the racetrack just off of turn 2. The safety truck stopped over there and picked up some pieces. We've had these guys running into each other all night, so it's not surprising that some pieces are flying off of them.
That's right. Paul Menard was a free pass winner that last go round.
Greg Biffle, among those cars that stopped, he is 9th, right behind Stewart. He has the freshest tires of that group there on the lead lap, right behind the 20 car. We'll see what Biffle, and right behind him Almirola, and those guys can do with the cars in front of them that have tires that have 20 laps on them.
Yeah, he's got that and fuel, Andy. That could become something here to watch for.
It could, but it's not likely we're going to go green all the way. But here we are, green again.
Jeff Gordon trying to just hug the rear bumper of Carl Edwards, but Edwards pulls away. Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the inside. 1 lap down, trying to hang there and get that lucky dog, or just drive it back onto the lead lap.
Kyle Busch right back to the bottom of the racetrack again.
25, he's better, and then after that, you guys are the same. Lap 1 through 10, I think you can get him. Then 4, well, we're having fun, that's for sure.
Carl Edwards having fun. That's good enough. We're having fun watching him.
Yeah, he had a lot of fun getting that.
All right.
Man, that thing got out from under him.
He was trying to drive it hard down in there and get up beside of Kyle Busch. He knows if he can pin him down there a little bit that it might be his chance to take the lead.
Well, he is driving the wheels off that thing. Look at him just cranking that steering wheel, trying to get there.
And he just has to do it now, because if he runs too many laps, this 18 car starts to pull away. Look at this. It's a great move.
If he can get to that quarter and keep him from getting up and using the racetrack, that's his best shot.
This might be his best shot right here.
He may have to rub a couple of M&Ms off that quarter panel, but he's trying to get there.
Kyle's not giving him any extra room. He knows if he can stay there just for another lap or two that he's going to be in good shape. Junior's sitting there watching all of this.
Yeah, he's hoping both of them wreck so he can get the caution and get back on the lead lap.
He's got a great view of this. He's got a good car on this run. This is his best shot at getting this lap back.
Yeah.
Shannon?
Yeah, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been unhappy with his car all night, guys. In fact, at one point, he told Tony Jr. just to cut the front clip off the car. That would be the only thing that would fix it. But he came down on the last pit stop, made an air pressure adjustment. Now, he says the car is good. He said, I like this car. So Dale Earnhardt Jr. right now fighting to stay as the first car 1 lap down.
Let me see. Cut the front clip off or change the air pressure. I think I'll go with the air pressure.
That's a little easier adjustment tonight here.
That would be a
these drivers, how about that?
Yeah. Great battles here. The guys with fresh tires. The 8 Eric Almirola had been on pit road. The fresh rubber. There's Biffle. Almirola has gone by Biffle since the restart.
Yeah, Biffle and Clint Boyer, who didn't stop to get tires there. We see these fresh tires coming into play right here. That 8 car, very impressive job. He came from starting back in the 20s and has done an extremely good job all night long. Yeah, got the paint rubbed off a little bit on the right side, but you expect that when you come to Bristol.
Tony Gibson and those guys doing a great job with the 8 car. Mike.
And you can listen to him on the radio too, Doc, and you can just hear the confidence in his voice. Extreme poise. You would never know he has such little experience here. Really, the only thing he's complained about with this car is being a little bit tight, but that's pretty much what everybody's complaining about tonight.
Yeah, we're going to watch him drive this car, I believe, in this run, unless we have a caution here very shortly. We're going to watch him drive this car up into the top 5, Andy, with these new tires.
That's definitely going to play into his hands because these fresh tires are, you can see how he's made ground. He's making ground on Tony Stewart. He's getting close to the top 5 already. He's in 8th spot. Tony Stewart's in 7th.
Right in front of him, looking back, is the 20 car, Tony Stewart. Dave.
And all night long, the feedback to Zipadelli on top of the pit box is, I need to roll the center better. Interestingly, following final practice, Greg told me what they worked on for changes was the entry and the exit because the middle had been so good. But it seems to be biting him now all night long. And even though Tony still runs in the top 10, currently 7th, unless Almirola gets by him, he's been fighting that center of the corner.
Tony's joined that long list of people that's had a hard time going past Juan Pablo Montoya tonight, even though
he's not made a lot of friends.
He's a lap down, but he's had a pretty decent car. He was down on the bottom this time and was giving Tony the top, but Tony couldn't take advantage of that. And we see the 8 car now trying to go around Tony Stewart on the outside.
With Almirola having these fresh tires, he might have a better shot at getting by Juan Pablo Montoya here.
Eric Almirola making only his 13th ever start in NASCAR Sprint Cup competition. This is the battle for the transfer spot, the 12th position in the chase. The 07 and 6, and right now the 07 is 12th in points. The 6, David Reagan, is 13th, and they are running right behind each other in 9th and 10th spot.
Yeah, both of them have had to overcome adversity, with David Reagan having to start in the rear of the pack and Clint Boyer being involved in an accident and having the toe end knocked way out on that car. He's doing a terrific job. Jamie?
Well, today's been kind of a bittersweet day for this 07 team. Why? Because just a few hours before the race today, Clint Boyer announced he will be in the 33 car next year as Casey Mears will take over the 07. Now, what comes with that? The entire team, including crew chief Gil Martin, will go with the 07 and Casey Mears. Now, I talked to Gil Martin, crew chief. He said, I don't like it at all. I want to stay with Clint. I've been with him since the beginning. But the problem was the rest of the crew did not know about the change until right before tonight's race. He said, I'm going to have a lot of fallout, guys.
Clint Boyer trying to focus on getting this car in the chase. Last night he was trying to focus on holding on to a points lead and winning the NASCAR Nationwide Series title. A lot for that driver to think about here as the races wind down in 2008. There is Kyle Busch. And folks, before tonight, Kyle Busch had led the most laps in 6 races. He won 5 of those 6. And tonight he has led 337 laps. Next week, we head to Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. Jeff Gordon leads all drivers with 3 Auto Club Speedway wins. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Pepsi 500 at California on ESPN next Sunday, August 31st. Coverage begins with NASCAR Countdown at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Jeff Gordon trying to continue his good runs at California, trying to get himself solidly back in the chase tonight. Maybe have a shot at winning. He is holding on to 3rd spot behind the 18 car and the 99 of Carl Edwards. We asked Jeff Gordon, entering Bristol tonight, what's the focus now as the chase approaches?
We're focused on just trying to win races. We do that pretty much from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. But I will say that as the race progresses, you definitely have to know where you're at, where you stand, who you're racing in the chase.
All about the big picture, DJ. You've been there many, many times, and no one understands that more than the guy that's been in that championship table 4 times.
Yeah, he knows how to win championships, obviously, and this is a position that he doesn't want to be in. He knows that he wants to go try to win races, and that's their easiest way of getting in, but you're not going to have that car every time, and so then you make the most of it, and you need a driver like Jeff Gordon who understands the big picture and can take all of that in a race. While he's doing his job driving the car, he knows his surroundings and who he's racing.
Mike?
And Doc, joining in into that conversation, I had a conversation myself with Steve Letarte this afternoon. He said these next 3 races all about one thing, qualifying for the chase. He said this year has really left them scratching their head. He said despite the fact that they scored 30 top 10s a year ago, had 6 victories, they've worked twice as hard this year. In fact, they went testing 22 times as opposed to just 10 times a year ago. They just cannot figure out this car and are really just trying to make it to the next step and qualify for the chase.
Andy, you talked to Steve Letarte a bunch today, and I know these guys are focused. If they could get it in the chase, as Mike was saying, these guys believe they've got a legitimate shot.
Oh, they're going to have a shot. I mean, this is a championship driver right here. Saw what he did last year. It's incredible what he did in the chase. But Steve said that the problem is this car has really is changed and thrown a curve to this Hendrick team. They used to be able to run close to the same setups when they could run do different things with the bodies because the drivers like something different. But now he says that the 48 and 24 can't run anything close to the same setup.
Kyle Busch still showing the way here. 91 laps to go. By the way, for you Casey Kane fans, the news is not good. He is done for the night, and he will record a 40th place finish. So Jeff Burton in 42nd, Casey Kane in 40th. Not a good evening, 2 weekends in a row for Casey Kane. Well, what about there's the 9 car, and just not enough time to make the repairs to get him back on the racetrack. They're just going to try to fix it to be able to get it back in the hauler and head home. The big concern now, a lot of pit strategy being discussed on pit road. And guys in the pit studio, Rusty and Brad and Alan, from your vantage point down there, what are you thinking that these leaders might be thinking about?
Well, here's what we've been talking about. We want to talk about it with you guys, too. The 18, the 99, Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards, 2 dominant drivers on the night, right? They stopped with just a little over 150 to go and did not stop under that last caution. Those other guys stopped a little while later at 366. Now, they could maybe make it to the finish on fuel, but Andy and Rusty, Brad, and DJ, here's what I was thinking. Remember early in the race when we had the long green flag runs, and you got to about 100 laps, and somebody'd wear that right front tire out from the brake heat? Yeah. I'm thinking that's probably why those guys didn't stop then, and if we get a caution now, they will.
I think they absolutely have to. I mean, we were talking about 150 laps ago, and DJ had brought that point up as we were getting closer to that second 100 lap mark and said, let's see if these tires give way again and we have some right front tire failures. Well, we didn't quite get to that point, so now we're coming back up on that opportunity again. I don't know. It looks like everyone's cars, they've got the cars figured out. They've settled down. Kyle Busch is stretching out a nice run. Carl Edwards running hard for about 10 laps there. He's falling back into place. I think we're in good shape to go the distance, but we'll have to see.
Guys, I'd be very, very surprised if this racetrack goes green. I mean, I'm not trying to jinx anybody whatsoever, but it's Bristol, man, and when the intensity starts building late in the race, things start happening. They start having crashes, stuff like that. And if that happens, and they come down pit road and get 4 tires on all these cars, Carl Edwards knows that he's got to strike then and he's got to get it done. And I think you're going to see this guy get real aggressive. Now, the other thing I'm seeing, this 07 car of Clint Boyer and the 6 car David Reagan are within 4 points right now, and they're running 9th and 10th, so it's heating up for the points to get in the top 12 also.
We're not the only ones thinking about fuel. Here's Carl Edwards' radio.
Can we make it on fuel? 10-4. Is it close? Yeah, it'll be close, but yeah, we can make it. Now we're 3 to the good.
3 to the good, but Mr. Petrie up there, I know you got your calculator out. I know you've been watching this tire wear, but will the right front be good?
Yeah, that's the thing, Alan. You know, these guys, I believe, can make it on fuel, but I'm like Rusty. I don't think there's any way this thing's going green to the end.
Wouldn't surprise us if it did, just because you always expect the unexpected at Bristol.
Now, if it does go green, the question is about the tires, about the right front tire. The 8 car's in good position. He is the top car among those that have pitted on lap 366. So fuel-wise, Andy, you believe he'd be okay?
Yeah, I think the fuel's fine. And the thing that you worry about on the right front tires is brake heat and melting that bead. And we saw a couple cars have problems with it already. And, you know, we may or may not see that in this long run. But I just don't see how they can run 150 laps without having some kind of an issue that brings out a caution.
Well, see, Denny Hamlin here, he just passed Jeff Gordon to take over the 3rd spot. So his car looks like it's really good in these longer runs.
Hamlin trying to get a top 5 finish, now being shown 11th in the overall points, solidly in the chase.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series from Bristol, presented by Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic, our ultimate clean, your ultimate feeling. And in part by the Home Depot, NASCAR's home improvement warehouse. A full house tonight here in Thunder Valley, watching Kyle Busch just hang on to the lead all night long. He took the lead at lap 55. We're at lap 432 now. He hasn't given it up yet. David Reagan started in the back in a backup car, moved himself up to the 10th spot tonight. Great job for Reagan. And some of the point guys have had good nights. Some of the point guys have had bad nights. Some have had bad nights they've made into good nights, like Clint Boyer, who got into a wreck earlier and come back and is running in the top 10. 8th spot right now. Casey Kane in a wreck, done for the night, and Casey's going to finish 40th tonight. So, Rusty Brad, what is the record for the most laps led by a single driver in a 500-lap Cup race here at Bristol?
Man, I don't have a clue.
Bristol?
Give me a guess. Come on.
I will say 350
Nah, you're not even close. Kyle Busch has led 379 tonight. Cale Yarborough led all 500 laps here.
Cale Yarborough Invitational.
Back in 1973.
Were you in that race, Rusty?
He was a man. I was not in that race. I wish I was, though. What a heck of a guy.
Doc, did you know that? You probably did. You study all those things.
Oh, boy. I remember when I was a wee baby watching that one. Yeah, you believe that, don't you? 1978. In fact, this is the fewest leaders they have had since the record back in 1978. They had 3 leaders back then. Cale Yarborough did it, by the way, in March of 1973. Imagine leading all 500 laps here at Bristol.
That's pretty incredible. That's amazing. It's even more amazing to watch Kyle Busch with the competition this day and time. Dave?
Guys, remember what happened to Kyle in the spring race here? He blew the power steering on that car on lap 295, had to drive the last 205 laps without it. But there was a silver lining around that cloud of white smoke. Steve Addington told me that although changing manufacturers on the steering box was a big part of it, they learned things while Kyle raced that car without power steering that they would not have learned with power steering. Hard to believe that the 18 could get that much better over the course of time here, because he's still whooping them all. But that was a big deal in the spring. They learned a lot without power steering.
That's the way I've learned most of the things I've learned by mistake. Doing something wrong and then you learn something from it. But here's a good battle.
9th position, 6 and 8. Almirola with the fresh tires. David Reagan trying to race his way into the chase. He is currently in 13th in the points, just 8 points back of the 0-7. So every position is critical for the 6 car.
Yeah, Eric Almirola has run up to 7th spot, but he started to fall back a little bit now, and David Reagan has made his way up, trying to take another spot and get himself a couple of points closer to that chase. Really good job by both of these young men, though.
That 8 car made a big charge. Just stalled out on him.
Once again, you can see just how difficult. You can run somebody down, you can get to the inside of them, but it's just hard to complete that pass. Not as much grip there as they'd like.
You Reed Sorensen fans, by the way, Reed is back on the racetrack in the 41 car after being involved in a huge incident on lap 216.
Check this out. Montoya is still giving these leaders a hard time.
I think Kyle Busch is the only one that hadn't had a terribly hard time with him all night, and that's because he's equally as good off the corner as Montoya has been. But he is having some problems right now.
I think every time Kyle Busch walks in the store and sees Juicy Fruit, he's going to break into a cold sweat. He's had his troubles tonight with the 42. But he does get by. 57 laps to go, and we're going to see what Kyle Busch can do. Is he the guy that can lead the most laps and win here at Bristol finally? Now less than 50 laps remaining here in the Pennzoil Platinum NASCAR Sprint Cup Series event at Bristol, Tennessee. Now the question is fuel mileage and caution flags, and now there's debris on the racetrack, and that will certainly help this guy and some of the guys who were just a moment ago discussing on the radio what they were going to do and maybe how short they were going to be on fuel.
Yeah, these guys are going to have to pit for tires anyway right here because there's 50 laps, 49 laps to go. If they didn't get tires, they'd be a sitting duck.
Yeah, and even those guys that came in a while ago and got tires, they're going to have to come get tires. Somebody may try to get 2.
Not sure about the 18, but the 11 is a gallon and a half short, so he probably is too. So if a caution comes out, we're pretty sure they're going to stop. So let's just decide what we want to do, you know? Ben?
Well, they got to decide. What do you do?
Oh, they're coming down pit road.
I don't think they have any choice. He's going to be a sitting duck if these guys, all of these guys are going to come get tires, I would think.
And then we'll see if Carl can do something he hasn't been able to do tonight in the last 398 laps, and that's handle the 18 car.
Carl and everybody else, nobody's passed him all night, so that's quite a chore.
But Carl is certainly giving him a run, and remember, he has to get it right away.
Okay, and pit road is open right here. Here they come.
.30 miles an hour headed down the backstretch. Jamie.
And they remind their driver, 4,000 RPM in second gear. He comes down pit road, 30 miles per hour. He just needs an air pressure adjustment, just getting a little tight out there, wants to free him up. They were going to be close on fuel, so this was a great caution for the 07 team. Shannon?
Now you see Matt Kenseth, those guys going to work on that car. 4 tires for Matt Kenseth, no chassis adjustments, and to-no-go fuel for Matt Kenseth right now on pit road. Mike?
Denny Hamlin's crew chief Mike Ford had 2 words over the radio to his team. Money stop. He wanted no mistakes here. He's calling for a 4-tire change, full load of fuel, car just a little bit tight, but no adjustments, Dave.
Kyle's car is loose. Carl's car is tight. They'll both make a wedge adjustment in opposite directions, air pressure adjustments as well, to see if the 2 of them will come out in the same order that they came in. Kyle finishes first. Will he go past Carl? It's very close, Doc, there at the end.
Very close indeed, and Kyle Busch does get out, and Carl got down, couldn't get the car going. Denny Hamlin, a good pit stop for his crew, less than 13 seconds.
And Boyer's crew gets him another spot on pit road. They've been solid all night long down there. Saw that 8 car get up against the wall right as that caution came out for debris.
Yeah, he was battling with David Reagan in the 6. Matt Kenseth had just passed both of these cars. See him get a little bit loose and up into the wall. Not a lot of damage.
Timely caution for these guys. They got in there, got some tires, and clears these fenders.
Well, Carl Edwards is our in-race reporter. Let's see what he's thinking right now. 45 to go.
Carl, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You have me?
Gotcha, Dale.
Hey, great race tonight, but do you have anything for that 18?
I think so. I think right here on the short run we do, so it's going to be pretty exciting here. It's been fun racing with them. You know, we're both pretty fast at the beginning. He just a tick better on the long run. So Bob made an adjustment there, and hopefully it's strong enough to get through the center and beat him.
Is the bottom a little bit on the slick side? We've seen you a couple times try to make that pass. Is it you just lacking a little bit of grip down there?
Yeah, tempo just gets a little free next to people, but I think we're good, man. I think this could be pretty exciting.
All right, show us some excitement, buddy. Good luck.
These guys have been the best all year. Kyle Busch, 8 wins. Carl Edwards, his 5th win of the year. Last week at Michigan, it was Kyle Busch chasing Carl Edwards, and it was great pit work in the last stop, the money stop, Andy. It made the difference.
Yeah, right there you see the crew gets him out front, just in front of Busch. You can see him drive to the win here. He's going to have to drive around Kyle Busch to get it tonight.
Yeah, he's not only going to have to do that, even if he can pass him here, keeping Kyle Busch back there, because Kyle's car is better on the long run. We hear him talk about he's loose, and his car turns better.
Well, we don't have a really long run here. We only got 44 laps to go.
That was my question. So, what's their definition of a long run?
Anything outside of 10 laps is where his car starts getting better, so that gives him 30-some laps to make that pass.
Yeah, you're right. That's too many laps.
And the question is, how wide can you make a Ford Fusion?
I think Carl Edwards knows exactly. He can make it plenty wide here. He's going to make it difficult on Kyle Busch if he can make that pass. Nobody's passed Kyle Busch all night.
You've got to pass
that's going to happen.
Last August, Casey Kane was having the kind of night Kyle Busch had. He had led 300-plus laps, ended up getting passed late and did not win the race. Here are the last 5 races. Look at the head-to-head comparison. Wow.
Yeah, we look at these guys. They've been the best all year. And sitting here in 3rd, 4th, and 5th are 3 guys that needed to have great runs tonight because of their points position. And Denny Hamlin, Jeff Gordon, and Kevin Harvick have all done it. Here we go back to green.
43 laps to go. Now 42. Carl said, I got to get him in a short run, so he's got to go now.
Kyle got a good restart. Jumped out there a couple car lengths.
I believe Kyle's well aware of what Carl's going to have to try to do here in these next 10 laps.
We're going to see the fastest lap times of the race right here because these guys are going to be up on that wheel.
You've got 2 of the guys, the 2 best, obviously, all year, and that can drive these cars a little bit sideways and then drive them hard. Kyle Busch looks like the adjustment that he made to get started has worked for him.
Hey, boys, Denny Hamlin's no slouch here. He's hanging right there with them in 3rd spot.
You know, he came close to winning the spring race here and had a fuel problem, and that cost him the race right at the end. He doesn't have that problem right now.
Yeah,
caution.
Right in the middle of the backstretch, they said, so just keep your eyes peeled. Get off that 18.
Yeah, there's a little piece of debris right in the middle of the backstretch. These guys just went above it.
Caution number 8, so now...
Like Junior hit it.
Yep, he sure did. Now Carl Edwards will get another short run.
See, the 2 cars missing something here. It came off of this car of Kurt Busch. Right there, yeah, these guys had a patch on that right or left front fender.
He was the first car a lap down. Even though a piece came off of his car, does he get the free pass here? The caution was.
Can I get back to you?
You can't run next door and talk. No. Yeah, they're going to. NASCAR will look at the video and determine as he heads down pit road.
He had a hole right there in that bumper, and that was a cover they put over it.
The hole shouldn't have affected a lot here on this short track.
I wouldn't think it affected at all.
14 cars on the lead lap. He was again the first car a lap down in 15th position.
Okay, now is Carl Edwards going to have anything? Did he learn something on that last restart that could help him?
You know, it'd be interesting to see, but it looked like, you know, Kyle Busch and them maybe adjusted their car for that shorter run, made it a little bit better there, but is that going to hurt him as he runs on then? Generally, if you're tightening it up, then that means you could get a little bit tighter as you go on. What do you think?
Yeah, it could be. You know, we heard him talking about that, and he said if we have a short run, I need to be a little tighter. And he was really good in that short run, the best we've seen all night.
Carl seemed pretty confident, though, that he was going to be able to get up there and battle him, so he might not have shown him everything right there.
He almost made the pass once before on the outside. If you were Carl Edwards, was that where you would go? Because, I mean, obviously Kyle's not going to give you much downstairs.
Hey, he needs to get up top. I think that's where he needs to be, is on the outside. If he could ever get position on Kyle on the outside. Dave?
With Steve Addington right now, this has been fun for us to watch. What are these last few laps going to be like for you?
Nerve-wracking. I mean, we got going to be about 35 to go here. We'll try to get this M&M's Toyota Camry in victory lane for these guys. This pit crew's been awesome. This whole race team, man, from that stuff starts at the shop, and everybody back there in the fab shop, the CNC, the motor shop, everybody works hard on this race team, and this is the results of it when you put Kyle Busch in his seat.
You've seen a quick run with that change. Did that help on the short run?
Lap times look pretty good right there. If we can hold him off the first 5 to 7 laps, I think we'll be all right.
Thanks, Steve. Let's go to Mike.
And catching up with Mike Ford now, how much of an advantage do you think you have above the guys in front of you with those fresh tires?
Well, I think I think everybody's got fresh tires, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think we have an advantage at all. So we'll see how it goes here. I think the longer we can run, the better our car is.
That's Mike Ford.
Fresh rubber up front. The question is, who's got what? Carl Edwards said he's got to get it done in short run, and you guys define that as less than 10 laps. So And as you said, Andy, the only shot he had before was he almost got it done up high when he got up in that high groove because Kyle wasn't going to give him anything on the inside.
Kyle's not giving him anything on these restarts either. And
it's your time. Get after him.
Carl's got to be ready to go here.
We see Dale Jr. back on the inside once again. He is 2 laps down at this. Well, now he's been showing 1. I'm looking at the scoring monitor.
Be 34 to go this time. Pace car pulls away. Let's see if Carl can stay right on the rear deck of that Toyota.
The lap cars weren't a factor as they got through that. That's what you really want on the restarts here, to be able to get down into that corner. Now we'll see. Carl goes in a little bit higher, trying to get that run off the corner, get back to the bumper of this 18.
Able to close in here.
Well, he cut that corner off and put those left side tires right down on the edge of the apron again here in 3.
Kyle Busch just gets such a good bite off the corner. That's why Carl hasn't been able to pass him on the high side either, is because Kyle can get that run off the corner and just clear him as they get up on the straightaway.
Uh-oh, Kyle. Just a little out of shape off too.
See the back end of the 18 kick out just a little bit. He got into him, moved him out of the way. He's got the lead.
Here comes Kyle back at him again. He's going to get to him.
Yeah, gave him a little shove.
The bump and run, the Bristol move.
Here comes Denny Hamlin
right there too.
Denny Hamlin said, "My turn to play. I got a bumper too."
Jeff Gordon's not far behind. You can see him lurking back there just behind these guys. Great racing, though. Denny Hamlin was able to take that top side. It'll be interesting to see if he can complete that pass and go up there with Carl. He's got a really strong car. He gets off of that second corner really good.
We've never seen all night long Kyle Busch be in this position where he didn't have that clean air and the racetrack, the whole racetrack to use. These guys took it away from him, and now he's got some work to do if he's going to win this race.
First time since lap 55 that someone has passed Kyle Busch. So let's check in on the 11 pit. Mike.
And Doc, the 11's getting better lap after lap. He was waiting for the pressures to build up. He said earlier in the run, the car was walking a little bit, but now that the pressures have built up, the car's really coming to him.
This is going to be a shootout for 27 laps right here.
Yeah, but as you guys said, in the long run, Carl said he wasn't as good as the 18. Can he hold on?
See Jeff Gordon lurking right behind these guys, too. If they get to beating and banging on each other, he's going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and the problem that the 18 has to get into the 99s, he's got the 11 in front of him now. So he's going to have to use up a lot of car to get by him, if indeed he can.
Kevin Harvick back in 5th position. So guys that needed a good runs, as you mentioned, after last week, the 24 car, Gordon, Harvick.
You can see Kyle Busch on the back bumper of Denny Hamlin. As they get down into the corner, Denny's running just low enough to keep Kyle back there. He can't get that nose of his car, the right front fender, down on the inside of him. That's what he's looking to do, is make that run. Now he gets there. Denny slid up a little bit.
These guys are teammates, but they're not acting like teammates right now. They both want this spot.
And Carl Edwards is loving it.
Yeah, the biggest thing here is you can't waste much time. These laps click off in a hurry.
Yeah, 23 laps goes by real quick here. Look at Carl Edwards. He's stretching it on these guys.
Kyle Busch might try the high side here.
That's probably his best shot. Here he goes.
He's up on the outside. That's where Denny Hamlin took the spot from him, but it looks like Kyle's going to take it away pretty easy.
Okay, Harvick just passed Gordon also on the high side.
20 laps to go next time by, and at 15 seconds a lap, that is 5 minutes, folks, is all Carl Edwards has got to do is hang on for 5 more minutes. And these guys know that they're running out of time.
Well, this 18 car has been the best on a long run, but as you said, this is not a very long run, but it is enough time for him to get there.
He's got 20 laps in clear racetrack right now to try to run down this 99 car.
Yeah, he had clear racetrack right there, and Carl Edwards beat him by 1/10 of a second.
Kevin Harvick's actually moving in on these guys.
Here's Harvick's view of the battle for second spot, Busch and Hamlin.
Dale, I'm like you. I think they made an adjustment on this 18 car to make it better in a short run, and it really hurt the long run on this car.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have messed with it too much, because even on the short run, Carl wasn't able to get around them, and they were clearly the better car in the longer run. But that's a chance that you take. I'm sure they didn't make much of an adjustment, but between the adjustment and maybe this set of tires, it's just not what Kyle wants.
Yeah, on that pit stop, they said Carl was tight, but Kyle was loose, and they adjusted both cars, and obviously Carl got the better of those two adjustments.
Yeah, he continues to be the faster car of this group.
Kevin Harvick is fast. He's caught these guys.
We told you earlier in the night that the driver who has led the most laps here has failed to win the last 5 races. Tony Stewart was the guy 3 times, and now Kyle Busch.
I kept hearing you say that, and I'm like, well, this is not going to work out for you tonight, but lo and behold here.
Well, I wasn't trying to jinx Kyle Busch by any means. I was just trying to state the facts, as Sergeant Friday would say.
Yeah, it's 1.7 seconds is the lead right now. And, you know, in some other places, that's not very far. But on this short racetrack, that's a lot of room that's going to be hard to make up. Dave, you got more on Carl Edwards?
On the 99, yeah. This afternoon, crew chief Bob Osborne told me these last 3 races, we might be willing to go out on a limb a little bit, setup-wise. We're not going to mess around in the motor department too much, but this might be one of those nights where we take a little bit of a chance and experiment as we're locked into the chase just by starting here tonight. Looks like it might be a good shot.
This is one of the most physical races we run all year long. And we're down to the last little bit of it.
You know, we surveyed our people talking about the most physically fit drivers, and we talked about some of our experts, and guess what? Everybody did their own little top 5, and every one of us had that guy as number 1.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and there's no doubt it takes its toll. You know, you raced last night, temperatures up here are hot, and it's no surprise to see him up here and being able to manhandle his race car here at the end of this race when it really counts. And even if his car starts to push a little, if his starts to push a little right now, he's built up a big enough lead. He's up to 1.8 second lead, so he's in pretty good shape.
He's going to catch the tail end of the field and start lapping some cars. They could play a factor in the finish.
Battle for position for 7th spot, Clint Boyer and Tony Stewart.
Yeah, this is a great comeback for Clint Boyer to be able to run this well after being involved in that earlier accident.
He needs every spot he can get. He doesn't want to take a chance, but he's going to race hard for the spot.
Car right behind them is Matt Kenseth, who at one point in time in this race was a lap down. He's come back to get himself up in the 9th spot.
Yeah, Kenseth, and behind him David Reagan in the top 10.
Right now, Kyle Busch would love to see a caution to have one more shot at Carl Edwards.
Carl has just pulled away, and he told us a few weeks ago, he said with the 8 wins that Kyle Busch had, that I gotta win races. I need those bonus points.
Well, not only that, this is actually a 20-point swing, because if Carl Edwards gets this win, he's going to keep Kyle Busch from getting it. He's going to get 10 bonus points and keep Kyle Busch from getting those 10. That's a 20-point swing.
And that's what happened at Michigan a week ago.
0.95.
Well, it's just a great job. They made the adjustments that they needed to, and Carl Edwards did what he needed to. He told us he thought he had something. Great call by him. And then that's who you can go to. Those guys usually know their race cars and what they're capable of.
I think confidence is a lot of it, too, and he was confident he could do that. He pulled it off.
Just a remarkable performance after Kyle Busch had led from lap 55 until the restart here, and Carl Edwards up on the wheel, able to go by.
Yeah, the good thing for him, you talked about catching this traffic, Andy, is that it's pretty much single file. There's not a lot of double file racing back there, so he's able to keep his car right on the bottom, and these guys are giving him a lot of room.
The one thing that happens late in the race, these guys just give the leader plenty of room not to affect the finish.
Carl Edwards won here at Bristol in August of 2007, a year ago.
Takes the white flag.
White flag, buddy.
Less than half a mile from back-to-back victories for Carl Edwards. Down the back straightaway. Got a hammer in turn 3. Got some traffic in front of him. And Carl Edwards will come down and win for the second time in his career in Bristol, Tennessee.
Kyle Busch is going to finish second. Denny Hamlin third.
Oh, awesome race.
Kevin Harvick comes across fourth. Jeff Gordon in fifth. Those guys really needed good runs, and they were able to make good nights of that for points.
Yeah, Clint Boyer getting a top 10 finish in seventh.
You did a great job today. Awesome, awesome day.
Carl Edwards mathematically locked in.
Getting a little nudge here from Kyle Busch. I don't know what's going on there.
They're pushing and shoving a little bit over there.
I don't know what that was all about.
Now the 18 is going to try to run him down.
Well, that would have been the little push.
NASCAR's calling the 18. Watch this, guys. Here comes the 18, and he is not done yet. They have called him to the NASCAR hauler. Yes, he is. He's coming down the pit road.
I guess he didn't like the way he got past.
Yeah, that's racing at Bristol. I don't think anybody saw anything wrong with what Carl Edwards did there, except for Kyle Busch. He's not very happy about it, and that's always the case. You're going to have one guy that's not. We talked about this in the pre-race. Rusty was talking about it. We showed him getting bumped one time by Jeff Gordon to move him out of the way to win, and that's just what you have to do sometimes.
They weren't happy either.
They weren't. No.
Nope.
But the fans are, and that's what counts.
That's right. And so is Carl. Watch this. He's going to do his backflip.
Yep. What do we call it? The signature somersault from Carl Edwards. He has done it 5 times. Now make it 6.
500 laps and then do a backflip.
And
that's an athlete right there.
And oh, by the way, in his career, mark it down, Concrete Carl, his 9th win in NASCAR on concrete. Here's the pass.
Just a little nudge getting in the corner.
Kyle Busch comes back.
You got to expect that. I mean, it comes down to the end of the race. You got to expect that he pays him back right there. Gives Carl a little nudge, but can't get back by. Just frustrated he led so much of the race and lost it.
Now here's the post race.
They're still.
Let's go down to Jamie Little.
Well, Bob Osborne's watching the replay as well, and the fans are going nuts. Let's talk about that last pit stop. How instrumental was that last stint for you guys?
Well, the last stint was pretty instrumental. You know, we made another adjustment on the last stop. We were pretty good to the 18 on the short run, 10, 15 laps. We could get next to him, but we just weren't never quite good enough to get back by him. And on a long run, he was a tick better than us today. So Carl got up on the wheel and made some stuff happen today, so that was nice. It was good. He won this race for us for sure.
Certainly a big night. Jack Roush up here hugging everybody. Shannon?
Well, here with your second place finisher, Kyle Busch, we saw the contact post-race. Did you feel like he did not pass you fairly on the track?
No, he hit me getting into turn 1, which got me a little bit loose, chattered the rear tires, but you know, whatever. That's, you know, Carl's going to say sorry he didn't want to race that way because he always does, you know, Mr. Ed-like. So we'll take it, we'll go on, and, you know, we'll race him that way in a chase if that's the way he wants to race.
All right, Kyle Busch, second place finish. Mike?
After a disappointing finish at Michigan, Denny Hamlin bounces back with a top 3 finish. How much does this take the edge off?
There's still an edge, but it's not as sharp. But I think everyone in this whole FedEx Freight team, it's just definitely been a trial week for us as far as just, you know, self-esteem. We just got to get it back, and you know, this is what we needed. Definitely, you know, give all these FedEx employees something to cheer about.
And with the third place finish, Denny Hamlin jumps from 12th to 11th in the standings, guys.
Well, the edge is still there. Carl Edwards pulls his car up into victory lane, and he will climb out with back-to-back victories. Fireworks with a few laps to go, and fireworks after the checkered flag. Dave.
So the pole sitter gets to victory lane late in the race. A little contact to get the lead there. Carl described that and the aftermath.
Yeah, I just, that's one of those deals where I couldn't get by him and I couldn't get by him. And I just had to ask myself, would he do that to me? And he has before, so that's the way it goes. And just really proud of my guys off of Steepo. Got to thank the fans, Ford Motor Company, Aflac. Man, that's exciting.
they keep talking about rivalries. We might have one now.
You two were very close, but not fast enough to get him on the short runs. That last adjustment, do you think your car got that much better, or did his get a little slower?
Well, I kind of just ran into him, you know? That's what happened. It's too bad we tore up the car a little bit after the race, but I guess he wasn't happy about it. I can understand, but just in the back of my mind, all I could think about was Richmond at a nationwide race when he was trying to get through the field and he pile drove me, and you know, I mean, I'm not, it's just the way it is, just racing. I got a lot of respect for the guy, and he was real fast, but we can't give up points when they're right there for us to take.
Congratulations on a great win.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Carl wins again tonight. The two fastest guys on the track fought it out to the end, Alan.